How about Minecraft? You guys like Minecraft?
I've never played Minecraft.
Hardcore Minecraft?
Not really.
Oh my god. Fucking Philistines.
I played Minecraft 10 years ago when it came out.
Man.
But that's about it.
I thought you were a hardcore Minecraft streamer. Well, we can talk about our builds. Why don't you both go first because I have 9. Just it's easier, I guess. You guys both league start the same thing, right? Didn't you league start the same thing?
I mean, if Manni says his build, that's pretty much my build because I've been religiously stealing his builds.
Everything.
Yep.
Little copycat. Well, you can go first, man. Then.
What did I play? I league started a Bladestorm Gladiator that I played it last league already in a race. And since my league goal was to push to level 100 early on, that build seemed like a good idea. It turned out pretty good too. And the addition of Rage Vortex was really nice. That skill made the build function. The single target of Bladestorm was mediocre at best, but Rage Vortex carried.
Did you leave it on sand? You leave it on sand stance or blood stance?
No, you sand stance for mapping, and then you swap to blood stance whenever you need single target. And then you press Intimidating Cry and release a Rage Vortex that deals like triple the damage of your Bladestorm. It's way higher.
Yeah, sand stance has always been a funny one with Bladestorm. I feel like they've never quite gone fast enough to where it feels like it's good for me. Because they're kind of like slowly floating. I kind of want them to yeet across the screen, but I don't know. Did you feel like it was enough speed in sand stance to feel like it was actually like making a difference, or is it just like the fact that the AoE was higher was enough?
Yeah, it's higher AoE mostly, and that you gain challenger charges while killing monsters.
Yep.
And the blood and sand gives you like 15% more AoE as well, right? So you're way bigger.
Big boy.
The build's really good for clearing. It has a couple nice interactions, like close combat makes you leap slam really fast because when you hit something with Bladestorm, you gain like a 20% more attack speed buff on your next travel skill. And the thing with sand or a Bladestorm is that it keeps hitting, so you constantly get the buff, right? So you leave a Bladestorm onto the pack, leap away, and you can the second leap slam will also have the buff because your Bladestorm is still hitting monsters and you keep getting close combat buffs. So you leap slamming extra fast.
Yeah, or even really like Farador's or leap slam gets the buff as well. So
yeah,
it's like you can just jump in by leaving.
It feels really fast on. The main reason I chose the build is because obviously they nerfed all of the juicy movement abilities that we had, like the adrenaline suffix and the smoke mine, flame dash to some degree. So I really felt like it would be better for me if I just stay away from those nerfed skills and go for that.
Leap Slam's fine. Any melee build I've ever played, like Leap Slam is surprisingly quick. I mean, you could almost argue that in a lot of situations it's much quicker to travel from like A to Z. Like I might not get from A to like B or C faster than like dashing or flame dashing because it's instant. But if you're gonna run out of charges, run out of cooldown eventually, Leap Slam, you're gone. Like you're across the map, you know. Especially for headhunter builds, it's like even crazier. You're basically killing shit with it then.
When it is inaccurate, like you oftentimes get stuck on things, and then you have this like weird bug where sometimes you're like hard stuck in a wall with leap slam, and you have to leap slam directly the direction you came from to like unstuck.
You start fucking bouncing up and down. You're just gonna go out of there.
There's also a terrible movement skill for bossing because when you do Cirrus or Maven beams and you jump over them, you get the debuff anyway most of the time.
Well, it doesn't like teleport. It kind of like it like arcs over because you're technically going up and over and then down. I think it's how it was explained to me one time, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's nice for mapping though. The build was great, and I played that build to level 100, had a good time, and then did a quick stunt on a Berserker for General's Cry since I found a nice Paradoxica. And the build turned out as good as I hoped. It had crazy damage. Felt like I played last league. Didn't feel any of the nerfs. We deleted all the endgame bosses. Was great. And then I went cold SST.
Yeah.
That's been my most played build this league. Min-maxed it quite a lot and had great fun.
And that's the same thing like you've been playing is pretty much you had the similar start and then also cold Spectral Shield, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I started a different build than Manni, but pretty much the same builds after that. But SST is the one that I've invested the most and had the most fun.
Maybe you could both answer the question, but like what obviously last league Spectral Shield Throw was a D tiered skill maybe. I mean if you were to equal out versus everything else, whatever C tier, whatever. But now it's so good. Is that just an advent of the previous Threshold Jewel basically being like plonked onto the skill as a permanent thing, or how would you describe why it's so prevalent as just the catch-all build this league?
You want to go?
Yeah, I'll answer that. So it's mostly about the mechanical change as well, because I think what they change is how the chain interacts with the main projectile, right? Like last league, you couldn't really chain with the main projectile at all, and it only chained the small shards, right? And now I think you get innate, 3 chains on the main skill, and then every time it chains, it releases the projectiles, right? So it just mechanically change, and then obviously, as you mentioned, like the threshold jewel is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
If you can see how stupid it is, right? So let's compare best Watcher's Eye for Hatred, right? You have your 1.8% base crit, right? And this jewel gives you at least 6% base crit compared to that. So by just sucking it into your tree, you get free Hatred mods, right? From the best.
Isn't it around like 11% base crit on a very good shield?
Yeah, you pretty much end up. I mean, at least like 8% base crit or even more, or depending on how your shield is, right?
Fucking so wiki has
just absolutely stupid.
The wiki still has the old one. Fucking wiki is such a piece of shit. Another interesting part to that is I was trying to pull up the alt quality, the Phantasmal Spectral Shield Throw, which is totally insane. Like, I don't say totally. I guess it's totally insane. It's giving you 1 multi per 100 ES per quality, so 20 multi per 100 ES in your shield. And it's, as we were discussing earlier, it's very easy to get a shield that's 300 ES, right?
Yeah.
So that's equaling 60 multi. And if you're in trade,
60 multi on a quality on a gem, right?
On a quality. If you're in trade league, you can really get 400. So it's 80 multi as a fucking gem quality, which is like, has there ever been anything ever that's come close to that? Remotely, even?
Maybe the auras.
Yeah, for aura stacking, maybe after, but 80 multi is like, such a degenerate amount. And then inherently,
for non-aura stacker,
exactly. When you're playing like Raider, you get correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't even fucking played the build, but I've looked at it a lot, and you have all the pitfalls of the patch, whether it's movement speed, movement speed nerfs cooldown, right? So you're beating that because you're Raider. You have the immunities. Well, you're Raider, so you also have that. Your ascendancy plus tree, so that's also covered. Inherently, you have fast clear speed also because you're Raider. So and then you're also a heavily defensive build because between the shield and the dodge and all that stuff. Like, it's just, it kind of ticks every single box of a build that was
you forgot the most important defensive layer of the build. It freezes like crazy.
Yes, yeah. Well, because you have such high damage, so it's everything's permafrozen. Yeah.
Started the build with like 1 million DPS, and it already froze map bosses constantly. They didn't even move.
Yeah.
And the build 1 million DPS is nothing for that build. When maxing it, you can multiply it by 10. And
another interesting thing is, I think one of the, in my opinion, one of the craziest things that this league has really proven is that a lot of builds obviously have a little to a lot of bit less damage, because whatever individual nerfs and then the support gem nerfs, Hydrosphere is for a lot of builds like a huge crutch.
Yes.
This build leans on it also because of the multiple chains, right?
It's not because of the chains, but because of secondary projectiles.
Sorry, yes, yeah.
Because you can't chain from your Hydrosphere, you can't chain to your Hydrosphere. So you won't ever get multiple hits of your main projectile on a boss. But normally, if you would just hit the boss with no other enemy around, you would only deal your main projectile damage, right? But if you hit your Hydrosphere instead, the Hydrosphere is going to generate the small shards because it got hit, and they hit the boss, and then your main projectile chains to the boss, so you hit him twice.
Yep.
So another nice motive. It also uses the most powerful curse in the game, probably the Sniper's Mark.
Sniper's Mark is just better than everything else. If you've ever played a build that uses Sniper's Mark, it's like you can't really even describe how insane it is, especially for things like any of the invitation fights with multiple bosses. It totally trivializes anything because it adds 5-6 projectiles off. Not to even mention the insane individual more multiplier that it offers. It basically just like makes everything double GMP and take like 40% more damage. Yeah, Sniper's Mark is just so much better than the other ones. I would feel. So that's just one more thing that this I would say
now we know why everyone's playing Spectral Pro this league.
It really is.
That's everything you want.
And just because this video is going to release today, there's plenty of time, even in solo self-found, to build Raider Spectral Shield Throw and get it to the utmost. I would say, utmost echelon of clearing all the content in the game. So don't if there's no fear of missing out, like you have plenty of time to do that. And what would you say to that point is the minimum requirement? Like if you wanted to start fresh in solo self-found, maybe you played trade and you're kind of bored, and you would be like, I want to play Spectral Shield Throw as a Raider. What would you say are the things that you would suggest not only target farming or going after, or what would you prioritize acquiring for the build?
I'd honestly say you could league start it with some adjustments. Like you wouldn't have any conversion, right? That's one of the main things you need to fully convert it to elemental. But you could do a Fist to Lightning like Trinity version, so it would be possible to even league start it. But to make it feel like a complete build, the conversion is one thing you gotta take care of, and then either you want the threshold jewel we've been talking about to go crit, or you want a way to get elemental overload easily, which is only the only option is the Heist scepter base.
Stabilizing, yeah.
Stabilizing is the name, okay.
Or oscillating, one of the two.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh yes, Legi.
Well, this league, right? That's
yeah.
You can make a easy mistake.
A boo boo. Would you want to care to explain what that boo boo is?
Yeah, so we are referring to my thing that I've done this league. So the Stabilizer Scepter has the same artwork as the other scepter that gives you elemental equilibrium. Right? They literally look the same, right? So I made that mistake and was wondering why I'm not rocking my EO on anything. So yeah, make sure to check your bases correctly while going Heist.
And not accidentally give every single enemy 75 cold res.
Yeah,
and also do 40% less damage.
Yeah, so
I have you go first.
To continue on Manni's point about the league start, it's always really hard to league start an elemental attack build with conversion, right? You always have to take quite a bit of boxes, especially if you want to go crit, right? But definitely you can try with SST because you get so much base damage, and Trimstar is really easy to get from Gwennen, so you take the conversion box really nicely with that one.
I was actually just brought it up on screen. I was going to say Hrim Sorrow is a level 9 goat hide glove, for those who don't know, and it gives you half conversion. The other chunk of conversion is easily acquirable on tree in the, what's it called? Winter Spirit cluster. Near Raider gives you 40% conversion. So that plus Hrim Sorrow, pretty much you're good to go if you don't want to have rare fancier gloves. I do remember, was it last league or the league before, even you, Manny, when you're playing, maybe during Ritual or something, Blade Vortex, I think you had Hrim Sorrows for a while on that build, or some build similar.
Yeah, that's true. It was I think it was Cold BB.
Yeah.
I used them for a very long time, even though the rest of the gear already had like a pretty high
yeah. But for a level 9 glove, it ticks so many boxes. Even then, it does have a little bit of flat, but it has res, it has a stat, it converts, and it's quite common. So you corrupt it frequently, you can get your LE weak on hit, or whatever other implicit you'd like. So perfect option, especially during this league, because I don't think it would even take 20-30 attempts from Gwen to probably hit Hrim Sorrows. Yeah. So
the problem is that the only good alternative, the Watcher's Eye, I guess there's another one, but the Watcher's Eye is like the big alternative, and getting specific Watcher's Eye in SSF is always a huge struggle, right?
It's easy. No, it's easy. You just gotta use the Void card, and then you're totally good to go.
Okay.
Yeah, you lack faith. That's it. Watcher's Eye
from Lighty.
Yeah, well, that's what this league. I pulled a Void card and got literally the exact Watcher's Eye I wanted for a build I was playing, which is
okay.
Also with perfectly rolled stats, but that is a 1 in a cajillion. But Watcher's Eye are a little bit annoying to get. It's definitely a level of min-max that is eventually like to convert to, but you can get, what's the maximum conversion you can get on gloves at the moment for like a rare glove, like from Fizz to whatever?
35%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to get 25.
Easily it's 25. Yeah.
To get 35, you need to either elevate the Crusader conversion with a Maven's Orb, or you need to unveil.
A veiled one,
the
I think, right?
Archling unveiled one. So
yeah, they're 30 to 35% for the veiled
exactly.
modifiers.
So is the elevated only 30%?
No, it's 25, and that gives you like I think 3% added as
okay. I don't know.
Good to know also for gloves, the veiled modifiers for Fizz Convert to Cold Fire Lightning is the highest, or the highest weighting. So you're more likely to get that compared to everything else. They have 40% weighting, so you'll most likely hit one of them if you start unveiling gloves. It shouldn't be too difficult. So you do have a couple options for full cold conversion. So that definitely feels like it's within the realm of League Start ability. Is there any other items, like, personally, I have a twisted sense of prerequisite when it comes to a lot of builds. Like, I draw lines in the sand that are very unnecessary. An example would be, I basically said that unless I found the Uber Lab enchant for Spectral Shield Throw, I didn't want to play it, because that's just some arbitrary rule I made. But that's not necessary at all, right? Like, you could totally play this build without having that.
I did play it almost to level 100 without the enchant.
Okay.
But when I did get it, oh baby.
Well, don't say that, because then I'm gonna fucking I'm not gonna play it until I have it.
I played the build a bit with the Merciless Lab enchant because I dropped that randomly, and it feels really similar to Uber Lab enchant. So you don't really need to get that specific Uber Lab enchant.
And the difference is it's 3 shards, 3 small shards extra versus 5. What exactly does the Helm enchant do, just to clarify?
So I think SST releases how many projectiles? 4. So when it hits the main projectile hits the target, it releases 4 projectiles, right? So for Uberlap, it goes from 4 to 9. Yeah. So it's more than 100% increase on the clear, pretty much.
That's huge.
And that's absolutely stupid. I think what happened was they just forgot about the enchant, and that's what we ended up with. But yeah, going from 4 to 7 it's more than enough. Like,
more appropriate.
4 is kind of bad, but 7 is good enough.
That mentioning them forgetting it, not to call them out, because again, like that's not happening today. But
yeah, that's probably not what happened. But it feels like
no. Like, I was actually going to say it did for another reason, because I was going to say last league we had Hateforge, and in my mind, there's no chance in hell they remembered or realized that Hateforge interacted with Chains of Emancipation. So there's just some things, like there's so many people have to tend to realize this is like a lesson or a mod, if you want, that there's. Path is such a sandboxed modular game. There's so many moving parts that for 0.001% of interactions to sneak through testing is totally within the margin of error, because there's just it's easy to point out, like, oh, we don't know whatever they did, maybe didn't realize that interaction happened with the helmet, or they forgot it existed, but we have no idea what they caught that didn't go through. They could have caught 1,000 interactions that would have been busted, that they like, all right, that's too good, that's too strong, So it's like, it's going to happen every now and then. There's always like something that, like, next league it'll happen too. There'll be something where, like, maybe Hydrosphere changed 30 times on a boss or something. Like, we have no idea. So something will always sneak through, and it is nice to capitalize on it, and it most likely doesn't really get nerfed to mid-league. Like, I don't think it's happened in a very long time that they've made a nerf to a build to that extent, like changing an item.
Yeah, they are really against nerfing mid-league day, which is double GG, right? Yeah. And obviously, my remark about them forgetting about it, I think it's not very hard, as you said, Matt.
Oh, there's so much
to just for maybe not realize that this interaction was like that. So it's not to bash GG by anyway. Because,
so why do you hate Chris Wilson? Could you just elaborate, please?
I don't feel easy with his very shiny
his gentle touch. Is it every time he breathes on your neck? No? Okay.
No. Not this time around.
The fuzz of his beard on your shoulder?
Yeah, it looks too much like you. That's
what build have you played, Lighty?
Oh fuck! There's just so many. I'm leveling 9 different builds at the moment, in different stages.
At the same time?
Yeah, I bounce through them every single day. Almost every stream, I'll be playing 3 or 4. I league started Reaper, which, speaking of things making it through the crack, hour 6 of the league they doubled its life and res. So that's an interesting factor that I just don't think they had time to really test playing it. and that build, and then after they buffed it after that, they gave it like 300% more bleed damage, which was like okay, and then they nerfed it again by removing an interaction with Arcanist Brand and double triggering its thing. So that's a build that I played that, and it has good single target, shit survivability, shit clear. Maybe we'll revisit it in the future. I'm not sure if it requires a second Reaper to be good or what, but that was one. And then I swapped to Exsanguinate Deadeye, which fantastic clear, dog shit single target, but it's a really fun build. There's an Unleash version, there's a Mine, there's a Trap version. I was able to set up my Atlas and clear Maven, and that led me to dropping Viridi's Veil, which was like, okay, let's get my hands greasy, let's get serious. Played Forbidden Rite, and that build is bananas for damage with like no investment. It's all it has is it has pretty okay clear. Like you place a totem, you place a multi-totem, it clears the screen, you move on, that's fine. You're basically a glass cannon though, but it shits on bosses. Interestingly enough, it kills bosses when you're dead, which is not a common thing. Minions, for those who don't know, after you die, now enter basically grace period, where they don't take damage, don't deal damage. But totems don't care. So if you have a totem that lasts 20 seconds, you place 6 totems and you die, your totems can fully damage the boss when you're dead. So half the bosses I kill now, I kill post-death. I just watch them. For any expedition boss, awesome. I'll just drop my load, and then I just die because I have 3k life, and then everything dies. That's fantastic.
Especially so good on a totem that scales HP on the build that scales.
Yeah, I mean these totems have like they're capped res, capped chaos res, capped fizz mitigation, like everything. So they're chunky boys. And you just I can see their life pool. Like they're not even getting remotely touched. And then I'm playing like a bunch of little builds. Like I built Mjolnir Mana Bond. I got all the items for that, which is a fun Indigon build. You just tank your mana, do a bunch of lightning damage, then you have like a big ES pool. That's kind of fun. Leveling Blade Trap, leveling Spectral Helix, leveling Summon Skeletons. I got the alt quality Summon Skeletons for Skeletal Archers. So I've been leveling that, and it's terrible, but I love it. So many builds I've been playing. And then the big one is accuracy stacking, which is like, I just arbitrarily made my goal for the league to just see, I was like, accuracy stacking got nerfed. Let me see if I can mid-max it in Solo Self-Found after it got nerfed. So acquiring all those double Maven, double Influence items, and getting the jewels and all that fun stuff has been really nice. And really, it really showed me just how powerful. The biggest part to me this league is you have 4 different vendors, and they're all extremely strong. But Tujin, without question, in my opinion, is obviously the most insane in Trade League just because the pure exalted value you get from just rerolling the currency tabs. But he's selling I-84, 5, and 6, not only Abyss Jewels, but Cluster Jewels, which for me has been so insane because that's been like a really huge assistance when it comes to gearing so many builds this league because he's almost giving more clusters than Delirium is. He's giving more Abyss Jewels than Abyss is, which is kind of weird. You don't always want to see item acquisition from a mechanic outside of the mechanic, but for him it's been like so obvious. And it's very easy for, if I'm playing 8-10 hours a day, to get 100 plus Tujin exotic coins each day. So it's just like I pretty much allocate the last hour and a half of stream now to just going through the expedition vendors because it's just there's just so much shit. Not to mention Rog, which I very much dislike Rog, but early on he's extremely powerful. He just falls off really quick, kind of to me. But yeah, for the Rog as a vendor, he basically lets you like. I don't want to say deterministic crafting. I'm not even sure what it's almost like just stage gamble crafting. Like every time he gives you an option and there's such a slim margin of his 10 different crafts that something usable will just be shat out. But most times really just using him to hunt bases or hunt eye level bases. But he has a place. It's just, you compare the power level of Rog and Danig and Gwen and Tujin. Like Tujin's like, 80% to the max, and then Gwen's a lottery system, so it's like you get nothing, headhunter, nothing, linchpin unique for your build. And for those who say, I have a lot of people who tell me like Gwen's not good. Well, in a trade league setting versus solo self-found setting, it's totally different. If I go through 300 Gwen rolls and I get a Vulcanus in 3 days, to me that's like very, very good to just manifest these insane uniques. that have like objectively very high power level, because you get the currency, and if you are not utilizing what I would describe as like latent currency, you're kind of missing out, because there's so many uniques that I've gotten off of Gwen, like Vulcanist, Void Batteries, Soul Takers, Mjolnirs, like that are what's prompting me and enabling me to re-roll other things, because it's just like, you know, so much. Here's this little nugget, and then you could develop it. So
yeah, I had the same experience with Gwennen. She gave me so many tier 1 uniques I got for the first time this league from Gwennen.
Oh yeah.
Definitely the best way to hunt for uniques this league.
Yeah,
I can
find something.
Yep.
I can also share that motion regarding Gwennen. Like, Gwennen is such a really, really good source of all those uniques that are so hard to find randomly.
Yep.
Like even Soul Takers, as you said, or Void Batteries. Well, I was the lucky one in this bunch, and I got a Headhunter from our league, so I had the jackpot. So,
but yeah, even for Galis, that's so common too.
Oh yeah, exactly. Even for random uniques, like,
common, right?
Well, a good thing to mention I would say with Gwen is she has a very, very high proclivity to sell the highest tier of a base. So if you're hunting things like Void Battery or Auracars or Vulcanus, whatever it might be, like she's much more likely to sell Prophecy Wands, Siege Axes, Demon Daggers. So when you're trying to hunt things like finding, like I was trying to find Slink gloves for Nubuck, or sorry, Nubuck gloves for, or Silk gloves for like Asenath or Oscarms, those don't show up often. Like it'll be like one every 100, 150 rerolls. But you're going for the bigger things, and even the jewelry and the belts and the jewels, like those sort of things show up so frequently that you're definitely likely to hit something extremely powerful within 50 to 100 Gwens.
Yeah, I was going to mention that and wanted to talk about the how Gwennen shop is, like what bases she has, because it's very weird sometimes.
Yep.
Some of the bases, they don't actually have the highest like item level or drop level, but they show up all the time, and I really wonder what the logic behind that is.
Have you guys tried to do low to mid-level Gwen gambling? Because I did some, and I didn't really see any difference in the screen, because I was doing it for Silk gloves to try to get Asenath. I had like 3 different characters, one at like 25, 30, 30, like 28 or something. And like there was just, I did 50 rerolls in each, and like no Silk glove showed up. Like the same amount showed up from the range that it would be dropping versus high level. Like I noticed no difference.
I wanted to test it. I was really curious, but I never got around to do it.
Yeah,
same here. I wanted to do it, but
but overall, I mean, the uniques that she offers, just like if you're just looking for generic high value uniques, she is shitting them out. Because you should have so much currency for her that you could basically purchase every single weapon and armor. Like the jewelry gets her, like it's so skewed, like the value, like the jewels only cost grand, and you're gonna run out of those so quickly. But everything else, you'll have ample amount. You can almost buy the entire screen every single time.
Exactly. You can buy every single weapon that you want from her, and you
no problem. To that point, talking about uniques, let's transition to expedition uniques, because there's 10 different expedition uniques, and then there was one base game unique added. You want to just go through the list in PoE DB order, if you will?
Maybe just talk about the ones that we have like an opinion on, because honestly, most of these I haven't played around with. I haven't seen anyone use them, so for the most part, I'm just indifferent on most of them.
I would say the most used one are probably going to be Starlight Chalice, Verana's Preparation, and then probably Night Grip, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Those 3 are the big ones. Also, the Flask that gives you
endurance charges,
which is Unbroken Circle.
Yeah, the Flasks seem inherently much stronger than everything else, which makes sense because they are the money drop, like the more rare drop. Not to say that the other uniques aren't good, but a helm that has Battle Mage and can't do crits to me is kind of disgusting looking. But there are some cool interactions to be had.
It is good on the helmet, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have life, you don't have any power charges, for example, or anything that's
gaining adrenaline with ward breaks could be good, but to me, boots are like the new body armors. Kind of, I was saying that like the strength of a rare boot is so ridiculously insane now. Like you have elusive, onslaught, tailwind on boots, like very easily to obtain that. Cause that's just an awakened orb plus rerolling prefix, and then you're gonna have movement speed plus like something plus you can get 5 pierce. Like boots are so strong.
I also find myself using boots for chill and freeze immunity a lot more now.
Oh yeah.
And also onslaught on kill.
Yep, onslaught on kill. I mean, boots are like basically like a full ascendancy at the moment. To the merit,
it's very rough to use unique gloves now.
Yeah, gloves are very strong. So gloves are okay, but to me, I compare every glove now to like ass and ass kind of, or even like breast stealers or something like that, or the benchmark for gloves also.
Or conversion builds, like as we said, Crimsorrow. You need to suppose use those. So.
Or even just going for like a curse effect. If your rings are occupied, getting curse on hit for gloves is like very simple.
When you guys mentioned Night Grip, there's a build around that is pretty interesting, right?
Yeah. So what they're basically they're doing is they're stacking ward. There's not that many slots that have ward, right? So you have to, and you're using Night Grip, which have like no ward. So you basically have your rare helmet and you have like rare boots, and then you're utilizing either a chest made from breach rings because it gives you 100% global defenses, or using Skin of Lords and Skin of Loyal to give you global defenses. And it puts you at somewhere around like 16 to 2,000 ward.
I think your Flask also gives you around 300 ward. I think it is.
Yeah, so it will be doubled from the chest. So you could float around 2 to 2.5k ward pretty safely with nice gear, I would say. Not to mention the one helmet Faith Guard lets you do increase and reductions to. Sorry, it's ES. Wait, no, increase reduction to ES instead of apply to ward. Yeah, so you could use the Faith Guard helmet to get more ward if you really wanted, because it makes your ES scale to ward. But basically the gloves just give you a big chunk of fucking flat chaos damage, which is not bad. I mean, it seems pretty good. Kind of reminds me of like Alberons, like replica Alberons builds, I guess. Similarly,
a lot of people use the chaos skills with them. Like Scourger is very popular with that unique, so it's a really good way to deliver the chaos damage and poisons. So definitely a solid unique.
For sure, yeah. I mean, the prerequisites kind of high because it does require you to have like you would argue like a really nice. The boots are the rough one because if you want to have 250 ward, you also want to have move speed. So like to get some nice gear, you're gonna need some more stuff than just having night grips. Otherwise, they don't really function.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to invest in that build to deal a lot of damage and like kill endgame bosses. But
and then also it kind of not for nothing, but the gloves themselves kind of gimp ward. I mean, since 3/4 of the damage is bypassing it.
It pretty much makes it purely offensive.
Yeah, and ward is. I like ward on builds that like don't get hit. If you're playing a build that's kind of like any of the fucking Wind Dancer type like phase acro builds, because good to note, phase acro doesn't mention, or acrobatics doesn't mention ward at all. It mentions every other global defense but ward. So for builds that are using phase acrobatics and phase acro and kind of like don't get hit very often builds, ward is a nice little nugget.
You pretty much have to play like that, otherwise your ward will be permanently down. Like, especially if you want to play a Night Grip build that focuses on using ward offensively, you're still going to lose your ward if you get hit, and you lose all your damage when you get hit.
Yeah.
So you really got to make sure you stack that dodge and evasion somewhere.
And that's also where all the flasks come in, because they have the tagline Restore Ward on Use, and some of them have other things. And of the flasks, we were just talking about I guess the first one listed is Elixir of the Unbroken, being the Endurance Charge Flask, which recovers 4% of your life per endurance charge on use. If you had 7 charges, that's a big chunk of life gained. Then you lose all your charges, but then you gain endurance charge back per second. So it kind of like it eats your endurance charges, then slowly brings them back, which is not bad. I mean, it's something.
I honestly feel like this flask is really good on a build that doesn't have any ward at all. You just toss this on a build and you get endurance charges, right?
Yep.
If you don't have those yet.
For sure.
Yeah, you can also utilize this on boss fights, which is really important currently in PoE, and you don't rely on endurance charge and kill, which usually is the case in most sources of endurance charges.
Like Red Nightmare or whatever.
Yeah, Red Nightmare or Syndicate mods or anything else.
Yep.
That you usually get, or like Anoint, for example.
For sure. And then the other flask was Starlight Chalice, is what I've been using, which is very simple. It just gives you exposure and nearby enemies, and then some non-damaging element effect, which is just 10% more damage for a lot of builds. So simple, but it's if you don't have exposure anywhere else, it's very nice.
Yeah, I think that Flask is very strong. Like, obviously, it's a bit overshadowed this league because everyone is, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people are playing Raider, and you get your exposure through being a Raider.
Yep.
But for any other build that needs that and doesn't really cover it, it's very strong.
There's like a lot of boxes to tick for a lot of builds, whether it's like intimidate, unnerve, call, exposure, all those things, and you want to, if possible, you want to have all of them. And there's not that many places to get exposure. You have like Wave of Conviction and Frostbomb, but those are kind of janky at times. So like to have it on a Flask, which we now can have basically automated, which is, I think, is quite nice.
But again, this Flask is really good, even if you don't have any investment into ward, right?
Yep.
Just for the suffixes, essentially.
I mean, also, if you are a lightning build, it increases your shocks quite a bit, especially with the changes this makes. So
yeah,
it's a big damage Flask.
Very true. Builds. Have you guys checked out the new helmet at all, the Usurper's Penance, or no?
Yeah, I've seen it and decided that I don't care about it.
I like that one line. I mean, to me, it seems really strong. The 4% faster bleeding per frenzy does seem like a lot, and 4% multi-frenzy seems like a lot. Like, it doesn't seem like a negligible amount for bleed builds in general. I don't know what the average bleed helmet looks like, whether it's using a snipe helmet for bow or whatnot, but I guess the argument would be this versus a minus 9% like nearby helmet.
Yeah,
it's just kind of hard again, like the frenzies up on boss fights, right?
Yeah.
On almost all classes.
Yeah, that's the first thing, and also, like, yet again, another unique without life on a build that usually wants a lot of life. Yeah, so that's the biggest downside of it.
It's hard. So, it's like uniques are, as described, unique. They're not necessarily good, and sometimes their upsides don't merit the downsides. We didn't really mention it. I don't think it's very good either, but I just want to go over Verana's March because it is just so funny that it's a boot that has 20 different modifier variations, and I believe it rolls 3 of them. So there's a lot of boxes that you could tick with these boots, i.e. Specified exposure, unnerve, intimidate, maim, crush, which is a very hard thing to get in the game, I would say. But you're having your shitty little minions apply them, so it's interesting. But then again, it's also a boot, and we discussed before, boots are so good, and now you're losing your boot, and it has no life and no res, so kind of feels bad.
Also, so 20 different combinations, all of them pretty useless, unfortunately.
I know you want to try because you see these things, you're like, can we make this work? And you're like, could, but why? It's like, what's the point? I guess. Yeah, then you have.
I mean, they look cool. The model is amazing.
Look cool,
Good skin transfer.
That's something. For Verana's preparation.
I like this one a lot. Just toss it on any build.
The thing why you mentioned earlier is why it's so good. I think it has a 2-pronged effect. Like it's both offense and defense, which I think is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely very solid Flask.
Yeah, the debilitating nearby. Than the Culling Strike. So Culling Strike is just basically 10% more damage. Like, they do 10% less work. So if you don't have
it 11 even?
11%? What?
Yeah, because monsters died 90% life. Just to be
okay,
to be precise there. It might be the strongest damage Flask in the game then. Like 11% more damage from a Flask is compared to like a Series Promise or Taste of Hate is actually a lot more now.
Yeah, well, because I guess you could make the argument, especially that every other unique Flask in the game just got fucking knocked down, and it is post that, so inherently it is better. Yeah, then Debilitate is nice, makes you a little bit safer. You take 10% less damage. I guess the only tagline is Flask is removing ward breaks, but it's kind of irrelevant because you're just going to be basically blinking it just to cull something for the most part. Like, you're doing it to ensure that last 15 to 20% of the fight goes without issue.
Yeah.
And it does that. It does that so good. Yeah, and there are other uniques that I suggest people check out, but I haven't used them, and I don't think they're particularly fantastic.
Yeah, I think some of the uniques are very nice, but we just don't have enough ward support.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Do you guys think they're gonna add more ward stuff in the future?
I just hope.
I feel like uniques like Night Grip kind of prevent them from buffing it too much.
That's true. I think they, at the extent they'll probably do is they'll probably add like nodes on tree for global defenses, which will just encompass ward. That seems to me easier than just having to specifically add ward.
Yeah, I hope so, because I really like ward as a mechanic. It's a really cool concept, and would be a shame to not be expanded upon.
Yeah, but like you said, Night Grip is kind of like this hard check that they have to balance around.
Yeah.
Because if they give you really any more ward than you have now, it becomes like if you gave us ward on tree or even ways to scale ward much past this, and it gained double the amount of damage it has now, that's fucking a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, if they gave us a ward shield,
that'd be a lot of damage.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem though. Like they can adjust just flat numbers. It's not big of a change on Night Grip, so I think that's.
You could make that 25 of 15 or something, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Then you got Legacy Night Grips, and there goes the market. But yeah.
Standard Mafia grows.
Oh no, not the Mafia. I actually just short anecdote. I was my one friend Nada. We were working with Bunkle 2, as he's known in the inner circles. He wanted to build Frenzy or Flicker Strike on standard. So I gave him like 6 mirrors and just had him go, or 4. I don't remember how many mirrors I gave him. Some amount of mirrors. And had him go shopping, and we just watched him for like 3 hours buy the entire build. And standard's a weird place. It's a different dimension between just trade interactions and everything. Like the prices for things are just bananas. And then he ended up actually buying a replica for Minshako for, I don't know what it was, 800 Exalted or some shit. And he hit Ice Bite 35 and 10 Divines, which sells for 2.5 mirrors, I think, on standard right now. So it is.
Oh, that's absolutely crazy.
It is a different dimension, and the build has 2k life and can't fucking clear tier 16, but it's fine. It's a weird place. Standard is
mighty well spent.
It's a cursed domain. Speaking of, next up was current cool builds and interactions. We talked about this briefly with Spectral Shield Throw because that is probably the coolest cool build.
Strongest one, probably.
Yeah, and it also has a lot of interesting interactions on top of that we discussed. Are there any other builds that you guys have seen? Night Grip is definitely a good example of one of them, but just like builds that have cool new interactions, or things that you've experienced or seen. Like a good one to talk about, I guess, is the current reduction projectile thing for like Fireball. If you get the number so low it goes below 0, it just blows up. Like
that's... Wait, that's not been fixed?
No, that's not. It's not been fixed.
Oh, I thought it was a bug.
I don't know if to me it seems like the kind of like the Civilization Gandhi thing where it's like the number goes so far around it loops back, and then so now it's kind of like it just detonates. So if you don't know what it is, basically it makes fireballs proj speed so low, if you can get it low enough, that it does like the distance traveled is basically like small enough that it essentially just blows up in front of you. So you walk around just going boom, boom, boom. If you guys,
instead of fireballs, it's a fire nova.
Fire nova, basically. Yeah. Any other interactions or builds you've guys seen that seem particularly snazzy?
I mean, not in that regard, but rage stacking has become a lot more interesting this league with the addition of Rage Vortex.
Yep.
And you can tell that the Bear's Girdle belt, the unique belt from the Tier 4 Harvest Seed, has become very meta.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to acquire for us SSF gamers. Maybe one of the hardest uniques to find.
Yeah, Tier 4 beasts
I would say so.
Fucking the worst. I don't know what their spawn rate is, but it feels like it's just even with Watchstones, it feels pretty bad. Feels pretty bad.
I can definitely say that because I did roll those Watchstones and it took me a lot of alterations, as you might guys know about the weights on those. Yeah. And I found like 2 Tier 4 seeds after like spending, let's say, 2 days in high work. Playing quite a bit, so definitely not the most generous of spawns.
For Rage, there's also the chain we talked about earlier, but the Chains of Emancipation belt, which is kind of interesting. It's an interesting belt. It's from Heist, and it gives you curse immunity, which is something that we don't have
I played
anymore
quite a
with
bit
Flasks.
with this belt.
Flasks no longer have that, so that's like a neato thing, you know?
Yeah, I've used this belt a lot. It was my second build of the league that I played, which was the Bladestorm build as well, same as Manni. But I used this belt, especially as we mentioned the rage interaction. So it's really good with that. Because what usually happens in those builds, like you get hit by anything, the temptation is applied to you, and then you can use a curse flask. So you fill up your rage instantly with that, and you're immune to curses. So that's one of those neat interactions that you can utilize.
Yep.
So it's a really, really strong belt.
You would say it's still for sure worse than Bear's Girdle, though, with the 20 max rage and the crush. That
they're very different.
Yeah,
they're very different. Yeah, for rage second build, Girdle is just better, but Chains of Emancipation can be utilized on those rage builds quite nicely.
Yeah, it's not really a belt that you use on these rage stacking builds that use rage vortex. It's more for like any mostly melee build that uses casual rage somewhere, and then it gives you curse immunity.
Basically. It's good to note also that realistically, I was from the Slaver King Heist contract. You probably get 1 or 2 of those a day almost, just from like.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's very easy to target farm.
It has life. It has res, so it means you could corrupt them to get cool implicits. So it's a very accessible unique that you could, maybe even hit 15 all reses implicit. That'd be very nice if you got that. Like it'd be a cool belt to have. So it does tick a lot of the boxes for like a unique that not only offers you something unique, i.e. curse immunity, but also has the stats that you want. There's also Replica Conqueror's Efficiency, which is, I think, a really, really good jewel just for a lot of builds, which has a little bit of rage on it, but also gives you the -9 mana cost for non-channeling skills. Like it's
very nicely into those builds for sure.
For even just for leveling, if this is like your second character in League and you're leveling, this thing is super fucking sick. I mean, it really trivializes a lot of the mana cost issues you may have. But yeah,
definitely some of those uniques are sleeper, and people don't realize how strong they are, even though they look really weak on surface, but they fix a lot of issues with your builds.
Yeah,
definitely check out those.
For sure. And you have the Rigwold weapons, which also legally have rage in them.
Well, I feel like rage is such a nice mechanic now, is that we've been talking about the nerfs to movement skills earlier.
Yep.
And leap slamming is still it hasn't been changed, right? It still feels really comfy and fast. So and rage gives you attack speed. So usually the melee builds or any attack build really that stack rage or have a decent amount of rage, they tend to leap slam pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
And that feels very nice now.
For sure. Any other cool builds or interactions you guys have been seeing? Cool gamer stuff?
I would say one of those cool interactions is Forbidden Rive Selfcast. It's quite a popular build right now in Trade League, but it utilizes like life on hit quite heavily to stay alive. So I think that's it's one of those really neat things that emerged with new skills and
that's the
staying alive.
Occultist variation.
Yeah, I think it's Occultist. Mostly people use Occultist on that build. So.
And you're referring to the life gain and hit Watcher's Eye, right? Specifically, is one of the better.
Yeah, things. That's sadly the
linchpin
really required thing to have, or like getting life on hit on rings, or even both.
So Elder rings can. I think Elder can roll almost 20 to 25 life gain and hit per ring.
I think Elder is for attack, but it's Shaper, and I think only Shaper because it was on also Crusader, but it was changed this patch, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe on both, but yeah.
That's a big part of the Watch Die, though. It says life gain for each enemy hit, full stop. So it doesn't matter if it's a spell or...
Yeah, exactly. And you can utilize like Ball Lightning, cut 1 damage taken, or just even self-cast. And can just stay alive through ridiculous damage.
The mechanic, to clarify, is that you take damage when you cast Forbidden Rite, and it procs your cast when damage takens, right?
Yep.
So it's like you can basically auto cast a ton of spells that fly around everywhere and hit a lot of monsters really often, and it gives you a really high monster sustain.
I have it pulled up on screen. The popular interactions, if you want to call it that, are the nice ones at least are Sniper's Mark, Withering Step, Despair. So you're automating your Mark and Curse setup. Your Withering is a defensive and movement setup, You're automating also like things like Ice Spear, Glacial Cascade, Ball Lightning, that sort of stuff, which is keeping you alive. So it does tick a lot of boxes there. It does seem to be like most of the builds that are upper echelons are kind of being built like old Blade Vortex in a way. Like they're doing Badge of the Brotherhood, double Void Battery type stuff. So it seems to be pretty neato. Like a really cool build. Yeah.
You want to stack some AoE in Forbidden Rite, don't you, to get more overlap? So
yeah,
gets AoE per power charge, so that whole power charge stacking is really powerful too.
Yeah, the guy I'm looking at has a fucking sick precursors ring also has like +1 power charge and multi per power charge and ES per power charge.
And that's why I really like this build, because it like utilizes very interesting mechanics and like with the skill and with the custom damage taken, and also like you can scale it really well with really endgame gear. So it's great build.
It also fits into the elitist niche that is something stacking. You know, like it's forever. Path has had, not that's an issue, but like the top builds in, you know, every league, every patch, there's always been some build that's like int stacking or like attribute stacking, charge stacking, accuracy stacking. There's always some sort of stacking thing, and it just kind of, I'm not sure when it even first started realistically, maybe like 10 leagues ago or whatever it was, but there's just been like this thing where someone like a light went on in someone's head and it's like, what if we take this one thing and get it everywhere? It just kind of works though. You know, like stacking one thing and going all in a lot of path builds is super fucking good. But it also leads to a lot of fun interactions because, especially in Solo Self-Found, these builds do take a lot of time to like fully min-max. There's so much room for min-maxing, stacking for accuracy, stats, charges, because these uniques are not easy to get, and these items are not easy to get. Like synthesis rings, precursors, you know, those sort of stuff, or like the right rares. For like stacking builds, you need like specific suffixes or whatever, like high values on everything. So it's I like builds especially that give you a really, really good goal. That yes, they work. You know, they might not work the best early on, but once you get going, they're steamrolling and they have so much room for improvement that it like kind of becomes an endless journey to make it, you know, perfected.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I like those builds quite a bit as well. So
you guys have any like specific stacking builds you've liked throughout the ages the most? Is it rarity stacking?
I always loved the power charge stacking thing. Yeah. Ever since Badge has been in the game, because it makes you run fast. It gives you a ton of AoE from the vast power jewels, and I love AoE. I'm a sucker for AoE.
That's because was it you that said the Carcass Shack was your favorite?
Yeah. Not just any AoE, but like global AoE, right? That improves your the AoE of explosions and heralds and stuff. That's like the key way to get really good clear speed in a lot of builds.
You mean double void battery badge is just kind of works on most casters. Like you could just kind of slap that on, especially now that I feel like I don't say occultist is better than assassin, but I like occultist a lot more than assassin. Yeah,
it is.
I don't have to throw the gauntlet down.
Unless you don't play cold damage, unless you're playing lightning damage or something, then assassin has a chance.
But that's why badge exists. We badge we could do call the brotherhoods, and then now we're doing cold damage. Cold is just better though. Like that's.
I'm waiting for the next brotherhood unique. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we have
assassin uniques.
What a belt, I guess, right? It would have to be a belt. Call the brotherhood, badge the brotherhood. What's a good brotherhood belt? What could it even be if you had a brotherhood belt?
I'm gonna be surprised.
It could happen. I don't know. The ultimate belt, the ultimate weapon since Metal Gear. We want to do some Q&A. I think we're in the portion for Q&A questions. I'm gonna screen these pretty heavily because.
Keep it POE related.
I haven't really checked the Q&As, so.
Well, today is
surprise us.
September 11th, so you can imagine that there's a lot of 9/11 questions. They're all on screen, but we're not going to answer all these because a lot of them are fucking stupid. So, but some of these are okay. Top 3 worst uniques in the game. Kind of a contextual question, but I'll just put malicious intent up there. That's the worst one.
Oh yeah,
that's an easy one.
So bad.
The 5% unholy might unkill jewel.
Gets one certain. What is it? One murderous eye mod, right? And nothing else.
Yeah, that's it. There's not many uniques that are that bad, honestly. That's like irredeemably bad.
There's always been this meme about the great helmet. What's the name again?
Oh,
it makes you resist 0.
Yeah, I use that one league though. Jesus, I'm going blank now. The fucking, oh my god.
Yeah, people use it in Delve to be immune to damage, from what I remember.
Veil of the Night.
Yeah,
Veil of the
except
Night.
that,
Veil
not
of
the
the
best
Night,
one.
yeah.
I used Veil of the Night when I was in Heist League, when I was building my Aura Stacker, because you're playing Transcendence. So it didn't even matter that your reses were 0. So I literally just used it to get more global defenses. Well, I leveled with it for like 70 levels. Because it didn't, yeah, there's like no elemental dot damage really while leveling. So there's this plus Transcendence didn't do anything. But yeah, it's definitely it's a contender for worst uniques.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's been used for like 1 or 2 niche builds, it's already better than most other uniques. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yes, that's down there. Any of the uniques you guys think are just top tier shitters?
Just scrolling through the list of uniques, and let's see.
There's so many. There's so many uniques that are just, but they don't have to be good as long as they're unique. That's the thing that is so annoying about malicious intent, is it's not good and it's not unique. It literally offers something that's 1/4 as good as a murder psi. Like, it doesn't tick any of the boxes that you want a unique to have. Like, does it look cool? No, it's a jewel. And even then, even some jewels look cool. It doesn't look cool. It's a fucking like pentagon or like a hexagon, whatever it is. That's it. It's just terrible. I'll put it on screen so I can make fun of it. It's like one of the most timid looking jewels, and it just does absolutely nothing. And it was introduced in 2.0, by the way.
I mean, if you really want this mod, the Unholy Might on Kill, and you can't spend the 50 ults to roll a blue one, then maybe it has a use, okay?
It's 6 years old, by the way, and it's never been touched.
Back then we didn't have Abyss Jewels.
I don't think it was used back then. I don't even know, man. Maybe then even.
Yeah, on the topic of terrible jewels, the weight of sin. I found one. That's such a bad item.
That's but it looks cooler than malicious intent though.
Definitely looks cooler, yes, but I don't know if it's worse or better. You guys can decide, but it's 17% increased chaos damage and 15% reduced movement speed. So not the best investment.
But I will counter with, there's not that many places to get stackable reduced movement speed, and by definition, it is now more unique than malicious intent, because it's offering you a unique thing that you can't get elsewhere, and you could stack it.
I think there have been builds that wanted that stat too. Was it charge dash or something, or am I tripping?
Maybe. But that's something. Either way, it still has something that you can't get accessibly elsewhere.
Yeah. Let me give you my candidate. It's called Combustibles. It's a corrupted unique jewel.
Oh, I know what that is also, yeah. That's a quant one, right?
Reduce quantity and you get 20 burning damage in return.
I mean, we didn't used to increase FPS last league. So
no, you know what?
Pretty good.
I have there's a use for this. There's a use for this.
To troll people?
No, there's a use for this. If you reduce your quantity high enough, the only items that drop in path are fishing rods. Because they're on an independent drop table that doesn't affect.
Yeah, but does it make more fishing rods drop?
No, but it makes you never miss them because you can make them very big. I remember someone tested this at one point where they got every single amount of reduced quantity and like no items dropped in the map, and they ran like 20 maps and they found a fishing rod.
But would you miss a fishing rod if you just made it really big on your loot filter?
Maybe, but even then, again, it's offering you something that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, true. So you can get 10 of those and join a public party as a slayer and cull all the monsters.
Yeah, and then it's inherently already better than malicious intent, just because of that. It's more unique. These are all good candidates. I love how we also all pick jewels because they're just like, it's just so shit.
There's so many useless jewels.
I think some of the corrupted jewels that only come from corrupting items, some of them are made to be bad. They're made to be bricks.
That's okay. We should really just move malicious intent to that then. Just make it a corrupted cobalt. It feels bad. Favorite food for Path of Exile? This is a good question, honestly, because every league launch, I make sure I'm fully stocked with snacky snacks.
Yeah, I always have like 5 bags of nuts.
Like Manny's got a mouthful of nuts. What about you, Legi?
I usually go for the classic chicken rice. I always do like 2 boxes of that and with some broccoli.
You keep your chicken in a box.
I mean, if you like do a big chunk of it on the pan and then put it in the plastic box in the freezer.
Like pre-cooking before leaks that, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much doing some pre-cooking.
I thought you were buying chicken by the box, and I was like, "This what?
Oh no,
third party country do you live in?"
You know, I catch my chicken
and put it in the box.
Right there somewhere.
I guess I'm kind of close to you. I like
UK
to get
is a wild place.
I like to get Chinese food. That's like, or some sort of Asian takeout is my preferred thing, which I guess half the time ends up being some sort of chicken and rice. So yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm a person that could just live on chicken, to be honest. So
that's because you're like chicken, you're like a full degen like Crip used to be, eating nothing but fucking lentils and orange juice. Just
yeah, exactly.
Chicken and rice.
Although chicken is a bit better than orange juice.
Yeah, but also I hope you don't look fucking emaciated like he did 10 years ago. Poor Crip, man down.
I don't think so.
If you had to use 3 uniques in every build you made for a league, what would they be? So three different uniques. You could definitely do Badge, Void, and Headhunter. Would be like that covers a lot.
Yeah, Badge, Void, Hunter. No question.
I would use Headhunter, Bottle Fave, and another good flask.
Maybe like the new Verana's flask, I guess, would be a good one.
Yeah, any generic flask, really.
I think we're all picking Headhunter though, which is
surprising.
It's a bit lame.
Yeah, but if Headhunter, honestly, if they just made Headhunter replica Headhunter, I would still be happy just because the fucking stats. Like,
I guess Watcher's Eye, if that counts, you can always use one of those.
Yeah,
almost always. And
yeah.
even if you don't have an aura, it's still a 6% life jewel, so could be worse.
I do like Watcher. I feel like for me the best jewel is what happened to my? Oh no, my mic got fucked up. What did I do? Wait, what? Oh, there we go. That was strange. Like lagged for a second, I think. I don't know. For like Watcher's Eye is definitely really good, but I think my favorite new jewel is honestly Thread of Hope. Of all the things I've added, like to me that's like so enabling for so many builds that.
I'm completely opposite to that. I've never used it since I got added.
Really?
No. So I always feel like it's not worth. I don't know. I never felt like it was.
Maybe I just leaned to builds that are using it, but the builds I end up playing with, like they'll be hitting like 7 or 8 things with it though. There's a couple of really good spots. Fair. Yeah, like there's a couple of really strong spots for it. I really like it actually south of Duelist, to hit both the charge things. You get Disciple of Unyielding and Disciple of Slaughter. So you get Frenzy and Endurance on Kill. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice spot.
Yeah, that's fair though.
There's one more unique actually to that question that it kind of emerged this league because it got moved in, or last league when it got moved to the global drop pool. The Death Rush, that ring can be used in any build now.
Yeah.
Like live Chaos Res, Onslaught on Kill.
Such accuracy also. Ring. There's also accuracy on it.
Yeah, true. Yeah. It's not generic though. The other stats are good for any build.
Oh yeah. Death Rush is also probably top 10 most common, like league exclusive that hits on those tables. Like it's dropping very, very frequently. I feel like.
Yeah, if I had a challenge to use it on any build for a league, I wouldn't mind. That ring's solid.
The next question is kind of similar. As Chris said, next league uniques are meant to be impactful. What would be a good impactful unique in everyone's opinion to add? Wait, impactfully to add?
Oh man,
just to make a unique, I guess. Oh fuck.
Not creative enough for this.
No, that's kind of like an infinite question. Yeah.
Well, I hope that's live this time around because that's what is missing on most of the uniques that GG makes lately.
I guess we don't have one that has. We have Badge of the Brotherhood, you have Slayer, and you have Vol's Devotion. Is there another adds maximum of minimum that we're missing for like charges? Like to get you maximum endurance charge or something, or no? Like max endurance equal to max frenzy? Does that one exist? Is that Slayer?
I don't think so.
Yeah, whatever that one is.
You get a reverse badge, right? A replica badge where you get powers for frenzies.
Isn't that what Slayer does, or no?
No, Slayer is frenzies for endurance, or endurance for frenzies. There's no power charges involved on Slayer.
Yeah, endurance for frenzies, yes.
Okay.
So you stack frenzies and get endurance charges.
Got it. Yes, I guess we can do the opposite. I want that. I don't want more replicas. I don't have to fucking get them, but we'll just some other thing, something like that. I'll do 2 more questions, and we'll leave the rest for afterwards. Why is Heist the most godforsaken mechanic in this game? It's an interesting question because Heist is still hyper rewarding, but it does have a lot of like. It's probably the most skipped mechanic in Path, I feel, at least anecdotally from what I've heard from people. Whether it's just from people doing it, like skipping it because they want to do the setup, or whatever reasons. There seems to be a lot of things that people are skipping Heist because of.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of buffed a lot of it a couple of weeks ago. Like mid-league, they gave us a patch that actually made job speed work on most jobs, or all jobs now. And that was one of the most annoying things about it, right? Because even when you had your setup, even if you had all the job speed gear, an agility contract would still take forever.
Yeah.
The waiting for doors is what most people despise about Heist, I believe. And that got a lot better now. The setup, it got better a couple weeks ago. I don't know how much better they could make it without like completely removing the mechanics of leveling, which I wouldn't mind. I don't think we need the levels on these rogues and everything, but if they want to keep it in the game, like the leveling of rogues is like as short as it can be now, really.
Yeah, you can level all the rogues in like a 4-hour window with like 2 level 5, and while doing the blueprints on the way, so you can do it very easily.
Is my mic fixed now, by the way, or no?
Yeah, it does sound better.
Okay, good. Yeah.
But yeah, as Manni said, like all the hurdles with the door opening and waiting for rogues been fixed this patch, so I think Heist is in very good place. And obviously, the saying itself on this: if you want something, time to go to Heist, right?
I do tend to suggest, at least this league, if you're looking for a specific unique, I mean, my first port of call say like, do as much Gwennen as you can, but if you're like looking for a unique body armor, I say we'll just run all of your heists that have uniques or body armors involved, and you'll probably get it within like 50-60 runs because it just shits them out. Like it is such a bountiful place. Seems like a shame when people don't really utilize it,
Yeah, but it's very disconnected from the rest of the game, which is kind of a nice thing. It's very optional, completely optional, really.
I don't get the same sense of immersion, though, when I'm in Heist as when I'm in Delve. Like, for me, Delve feels like it's a whole other, dimension. Maybe it's just the aesthetics, but...
Yeah, it's the voice line spam, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of voice lines.
It feels out of place. It's weird. Just not my thing.
Do one more question. I mean, I guess this is okay. What is your POE unpopular opinion? Mine would be that the game is fun, and I have fun playing it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it every day, and that is that.
I think mine is the changes to Flasks and curses are good for the game. I like them, and I think most people think they suck, but I think that curse is actually a thing that matter, and just permanently immune to it is a good thing. There should be more ways to mitigate it, but they will come. And the Flask system, not having to spam them while playing anymore because of those orbs, is best change since Infinities. Sorry to interrupt you, Legi. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. For me, it's that GG is usually right, and people are usually wrong. So, yeah.
Very frequently, people, like, whatever their opinion is, if there's a side to it, most people are very quick to assume that they're on the popular side of whatever that opinion might be.
Yeah, exactly. They're quick to assume, and they're usually short-sighted and don't take a lot of things into consideration, which is what usually happens with change the game. So
a bajillion factors, yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by GG, by the way.
Yeah, it is, yeah. As all things. To change gears again, new div cards and impacts. there was 12 new div cards.
This league has been really nice for div cards.
I mean,
a lot of Rite additions for
pretty
SSF.
insane. Just for the amount of stack decks you get from Tujin is bananas. But
True.
We now have our third alteration div card, which is.
I know why this drops too. It drops in Mineral Pools map.
Yes, and then you have one drops in Mineral Pools, one drops off of Voltaxic nodes. And then the other one,
the old ones, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the other one dropped. There's one other one somewhere, but
in Dunes and Desert, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. Dunes and Desert, and also Dry Sea as well.
Mostly, this card means because nobody's really farming mineral pools, right? I think I'm
good.
Can assume that.
So
good. It just means stack decks equal more alts now, which is very nice. I love alts. Everyone loves this.
It makes me think that they're not going to really fix the weighting of Watchstones very much, because I feel like that's the main sink of alterations, at least for me now, is just Watchstones, because I recently just did the ritual. I have all the ritual stones set up, and I have the hardest ones, and those take just fucking thousands upon thousands to hit the right things.
Yeah, I think that's my main gripe on PoE right now, just how much you have to click alteration to get anything.
The worst part is, specifically to Watchstones, is that I don't understand why I could hit rolls for non-applicable league modifiers for the zones. Like, why am I able to get Legion rolls in ham work when there's no Legion in ham work?
Yeah,
like it just seems.
It would feel so much better if you could swap them into any zone.
Yeah,
and if you hit like a Mature stone on Valdos, you're not cringing, but you're actually happy, right? Because you can
even give us a currency to do that. Like, whatever, some like unmaking orb plus that equals make a generic stone or something. So the other div cards that were added there was a div card for Ambitious Obsession, which is the Skittering Delirium Orb.
I don't know where this one drops. Do you guys know?
I don't know off the top of my head. PoEDB says.
I think it drops from bosses. I remember dropping it in a couple different places.
I think I went off a Conqueror or something. I don't remember.
The Conqueror is the other Delirium mob card.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, but this one drops from random mob bosses, I think. And
this one is pretty rare too, right? Because I haven't found many.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense because it's arguably the best Delirium Orb. I mean,
true. It's only one.
Yeah. Maybe the div card one's better. I don't know. I feel like Skittering's pretty busted though, as far as like.
Yeah, it is.
The best one.
I mean, Delirium Orbs aren't amazing compared to after like the couple nerfs, but this one definitely seems to be the most value. Then you have a double influenced item, so it's like a Jack in the Box with double influenced. I love the influenced Jack in the Boxes, even though it's like completely superfluous, but I just like seeing shiny random uniques that aren't gonna be good. Even then, it's just fun to see.
Yeah, it's a card that doesn't really have impact on balance or anything.
No,
but
yeah,
it's a fun card. It's great.
They could. I want to see. I want to see triple influenced.
I'm an addict to that kind of card. I just love those cards.
So would you say that you love Prejudice?
Oh yeah, Prejudice is the main reason I clear
exists.
Maps.
Yeah.
Usually, how I play right now is just don't clear maps because it's not worth. But
you're like a pro Prejudice person.
Yes. So cool things that don't impact the gameplay are always an amazing addition.
I have the other Delirium card pulled up, Dementiphobia, which is this one drops off Conquerors, right? Which is 10 Delirium orbs. Yeah.
And it has, I think this card has a pretty high impact. You're gonna finish this relatively fast.
I think I've gotten probably
something like 4 or 5. It's pretty common.
Yeah, I think I've completed almost 2 sets of these.
It's also pretty common from stack decks.
Yes. Yeah.
And since Delirium orbs are usually very rare, I feel like I got more Delirium orbs from this card than from actual Delirium this week.
For sure, yeah.
So it has a huge impact on SSF.
Do you, I've tried to make a point every time I have Delirious maps, first off. I have hundreds. Like, they drop like gangbusters. Like, 20, 40, 60, 80%. 80% is kind of rare, but like 20, 40, 60s of various tiers drops fucking so commonly. I try to Horizon them into Lexajoris so I get more value. Do you guys even bother, or you just put them in the best layout or whatever? It doesn't even matter.
I haven't even had the time to run any of them this league yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't run them either. It's just not really the best way of playing the game usually. So I just stack them up and
for
later.
People listen. I mean, Lexajoris has Delirium nodes that can affect, or will affect Delirious maps. There's a chance that you could get more reward types, and then it also just has a much higher, double whatever, 100% increased, whatever that number is, chance from clusters, which still won't drop, and then unique boss spawns, which will probably happen. So it's I guess if you want to, if you don't play that much and Delirium maps are more rare for you, if you can run them in Lexajoris, there's probably no reason not to. But you just get so many maps that it's kind of a moot point, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You always have a choice to run them if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
A great card I like to add to this league that seems quite rare is Lacrimal Necrosis, which is the Corrupting Blood
yeah,
tool.
this card's great.
Yeah.
Not a great addition. This card is very target farmable too. It drops in the Fall Cathedral and in the Act 10 area. I think the, what's the name? Help me. The Chamber of Innocence?
Yeah, Chamber of Innocence, Act 10. Yeah,
yes.
I don't know.
I don't know how it's called exactly, but it's target farmable. It doesn't drop very often. I think I watched Steel Mage farm this in like 6 hours or something on hardcore SSF. But the fact that we have a way to target farm this implicit now is amazing, because maybe not so much for softcore, but for hardcore, you really want that for Sirius, for example.
Yeah, makes sense.
On some builds that have a stack corrupted blood really easily on them, it's really good too.
So yeah, the zone is called Desecrated Chambers.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
So yeah, it's a pretty rare card, definitely, but great addition. I would agree with that.
Yeah. What else is there?
Way to target farm a CB Jewel that doesn't involve
mass failing.
Yeah, it's great.
Is my mic fine now?
It should be. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Like for me, it's okay.
It just was a bit loud for me when you were talking. Sorry.
That's all good. Terrible Secret of Space. Do you know what that card is at the top of your head?
I've seen it drop. I think it was a map that had a golem in it, similar to the other golem.
Probably
cards.
just drops off of all golem maps, I imagine. But
yeah,
I love the art.
I really don't know why they added that card. To be honest, it's literally the same one as the one without quality, so it seems kind of pointless. I mean, it gives the quality.
There seems to be a lot of golem players that spend a lot of money.
I think you guys are missing something about the card, though. Is that there's a line in this card that you're not realizing that says any quality type. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can give you alt quality golems, which is a 21-23, which I think is good because the best golem is the one that all the golems that have CDR are the better versions. So if you can hit one of those, it's actually kind of spicy.
True.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize it until right now. I was just reading it because I've never actually handled the card. But at least like that, I think more ways to get all quality gems is kind of nice because to me lenses are so fucking rare. Like they seem to be quite hard to obtain. I maybe get one in every 5 to 7 gem grand heists I do. And
I think I disagree with that. I think we shouldn't have alt quality gems in any other place than Heist. It should be bound to Heist. So
I don't mind if they're bound to Heist if they're more accessible, but maybe it just feels bad this week because we don't have Heist on Zana, so I can't do as many heists as I want to do.
Probably, yeah.
Which is fair.
I like the idea that you can target farm chase items like this. It's good for SSF at least. It makes the game more fun if you're planning to play a golem build and I can run these like 2 or 5 maps or wherever it drops and I will eventually finish a set.
Fingers crossed,
It's a cool idea. I like that. I like target farming.
Yeah. The Blessing of Moosh, which is the Jack in the Box lab enchant. And for those who don't know, there is with Dedication of the Goddess, the Harvest Lab, you have belt enchants. So this card can hit belts also, if you didn't know. So it's boots, helms, gloves, and belts. I have not hit a belt myself, but I've seen people hit belts. So you could get Headhunter off of this with an enchant, technically.
Have to move it up 3 tiers on the filter.
Yeah. But yeah, I
don't think I got anything useful from this card.
I haven't even gotten a helmet. It just feels kind of bad to not get helmets because, you can get anything. But if anything, I feel like this card drops more rare than the one card for helmet chance, but it should be much more common because the pool is so much larger.
mean from stacked decks, right?
Yes, yeah, from stacked decks.
Because this card drops very often if you actually farm lab. It drops from Dark Shrines in lab, and I feel like it drops every second time. I found so many of them.
Really?
They're pretty common, yeah.
Yeah, when you click the shrine, you have a chance to drop it same as the Sulfite.
Maybe like a 1 in 4 chance or something. It's relatively common. I've seen quite a lot of them.
The Emptiness card is the 6 quality Val Breach, which is
I like this too.
Val Breach.
Another great card.
Some absurdly rare item. It's an item that you can't even acquire in some leagues, right?
I think this one. I don't think Breach is on the Zona Devices League, right?
Yeah. I think the only way to get this is from like an Einhar random gem craft or like a random gem diff card. Yep. But it's like absurdly low weight, so
yeah. For those who don't know what Val Breach does, it just it's like a normal Val gem that looks. It's based off a portal. So if you were to Val portal gems in Breach League or with Breach run from Zona, there's a chance it becomes Val Breach. But Val Breach itself, it artificially creates and activates a breach, like a normal breach, that doesn't give experience or loot, but it adds a fuck ton of enemies. So if you're having a build that is explosion based or chain heavy or somehow killing things is more beneficial for you, it kind of like lets you artificially cheese certain map bosses and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
Back when explosions was like very, very good on chess and they chained quite massively, you could basically just pop this and then just like detonate the boss instantly.
There was this Impaler build in Heist League where you would do like one big ground slam and it flicked a ton of impales on everything, and then you press the Call of Steel button and nuke the entire screen more or less. Yep. The more monsters there were, the more damage you had. So people were chasing this high quality or this Val gem to boss with it actually.
Yeah, it's a
cool. A good example was person killing Ubraziri in like I think a gauntlet event by having the gem, just nuking the split face instantly.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
It's just a novelty.
But it gets the job done. The Last Supper is the Benos card, which is Benos is a old unique that is still pretty strong, which is funny because.
Sorry, can we go back to the emptiness one?
No, we're not allowed to ever go back. This is a dictatorship. Yeah, what's up?
I remember finding it, but I forgot where it was. I was so proud that I figured out where it dropped. It was some endgame boss. Was it like Uber Elder or something? I can't remember. It looks Elderish from the art. You guys don't happen to know, right?
No, I think I've only got. The problem is I've opened like tens of thousands of stack deck this league, and I don't know where anything fucking comes from.
Yeah,
I'm just lost in the sauce in stack decks. I don't know.
Yeah, I really should have noted it down.
It might be Elder. It actually might be Elder because I remember dropping that card from doing Feared Invitation once this league, so it dropped there.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's Feared actually. Maybe that's where I found it too. I remember finding it once, and I was happy that I figured out where it drops, but I didn't note it down, and like I forgot 2 days later.
Elder's pretty farmable, so that's not a problem if that's the case. Uber Elder is not as farmable because then you have to do Shaper, and Shaper's the enemy. So
yeah, I just like to figure out these drop locations because they're so useful to know in SSF.
Shaper, the slight tangent, in my opinion, I think it's the least rewarding boss in the entire game at the moment.
True.
Aside from getting fragments for Uber Elder and then getting my dying son, I really don't want to ever go back to Shaper because it takes forever and drops.
Every league, I dread doing Shaper because you have to do Shaper to get your Watcher's Eyes from Uber Elder.
You have to do it at least twice on a good day, but sometimes you could just be looking for that fragment of knowledge forever because its dropper is like 1/5 of the fragment.
I've given up on Uber Elder farming for like the last 3 leagues now.
Just because of Shaper. Like I'm in the exact same boat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so bad. That's why I played. Thankfully, I did one this league and I got Indigon, and that was it. But if I was playing a build that required like Disintegrator or like Indigon or something, I just wouldn't. I would just play something else because it's just not worth it. And Uber Elder's so fun. Like I love Uber Elder, but Shaper's just the fucking worst, man. Like it's just.
I just hate the way they changed the Shaper, like because what they did was
6 to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, the other bosses take like 2 minutes on a fast, like on an endgame build, right? When you trivialize it.
If they added a Shaper and Elder Orb that dropped off of each of them, I wouldn't mind it. Like to add influence or be able to slam influence.
True.
Which I don't think would be broken at all because everyone else has an orb. And granted, the Shaper Elder influences, I guess, is in a lot of cases objectively better because they have like a larger pool of applicable mods, maybe. but no, it wouldn't even be. It would still be a 7-minute fight with a 1 in 10 drop rate of something useful. So they could just get rid of the 4 wings in Shaper. That'd make a huge difference, I think. Like that feels like it's so superfluous, like to kill random shit map boss. Especially if you get fucking like if you get like Rigwald and then you get Malachi, you're like, please God, I don't want to be here.
If you manage to acquire a Shaper set, you can probably kill like a no map mod boss. You know, like at that point, it's kind of gone.
It just seems so backwards that like they're gating. I mean, I guess I understand the lore if it's like he's the map guy, but no, I'm good. Yeah, good.
The point I wanted to make is that to change it in the worst way possible. It just made it so much worse because it just gave it flat like 80% damage reduction at the start of the phase. So it just takes you longer.
To clarify, you're talking about the gradient damage immunity that just kind of goes down for like the first 10 seconds of each phase.
Yeah, pretty much what is happening with Shaper. So that was the change a couple of weeks ago to make the fight quote-unquote relevant to the current game. But it made it feel so terrible.
And that hasn't happened with any other boss that has much better loot and much better everything. They just thought Shaper will just...
Sirius has the same thing, doesn't he? When the Sirius phase starts, he's like heavily damage reducing as well.
I have not noticed that personally. Not to the extent at least of Shaper, but...
Yeah, it might be a bit shorter than Shaper's.
It's almost irrelevant, because I mean, I don't even notice because when I'm doing Sirius, I'm just thinking about all the goodies he's going to drop since he has, Sirius has just such a good drop pool. In my opinion, it's probably the best boss drop pool by a pretty wide margin, I think, overall.
Yeah.
Just between Awakener Orbs, Watchstones, Thread, and Gems.
Maven's Watchstones.
Maven Watchstones are so dog shit, but...
Yeah, it's a big meme most of the time.
Yeah, plus zone level is like so valuable, especially for things like ritual or even just high tier farming. Like it's Sirius is just it's just better than any boss. Like he also just takes half as much time as Shaper, and the best part is he happens passively, so you don't even have to be really paying attention to accruing Sirius. You just play path, and then like, oh look, I have a Sirius ready. Like I'm good to go.
I mean, Sirius would feel really bad too if you had like 20 Sirius sets in your stash and you have to farm 20 Sirius now, kind of like Shaper adds up.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would make. I really wish though they would make Sirius the Storm Zone craftable like the Conquerors are. Like let me alch alch and quality and corrupt the map. That'd be really fun if you could do Sirius with like LMP and increased AoE and stuff like that. Yeah, and then that'll it wouldn't even affect unique drops just to get more influence drops off of him, because honestly a lot of the times it's pretty quite common for me that I find my influence bases off of Sirius through farming him 20-30 times.
86, right? Or
that's 86 influence bases, yeah. So it's even just for hitting things that are like I'm stealing a mod to Awaken Orb something else. It happens quite I think I found like my bow, my quiver, my boot this league. I found a lot of stuff from him. Yeah, it's just really high value. So the Beano's kitchen knife card, the Last Supper, which is the dude getting his hand cut off by Beano's. Beano's has been around for 7 years, I think, and it's still pretty okay unique, which is kind of funny because it's actually used like on even like a poison proliferation is a thing, and it's got okay stats. It gives you regen.
That's crazy common from stack decks. I don't know where it drops though. I feel like judging by how common it is from decks and diff card boxes, if we knew where it dropped, it would be really easy to farm the set. We just don't know where it drops.
Yeah. It's a common one for sure, but yeah, I mean, Beano's itself is quite common though. I think it's tier 3 rarity, so it's as far as what it is, it's pretty good. But it's like still a solid unique, I would say. I mean,
if this card was, if you knew it would drop in like some kind of low tier map, I could see myself league starting SSF and farming this card if I want a Beano's for the build.
I like I've seen a lot of people who play Blade Trap doing double Beano's for the build. Seems quite popular, I guess.
Yeah.
The next card, I absolutely hate.
Was that the last unique you?
No, it's the Astral Projector card, which, in fairness, this Astral Projector is very, very cool. So I'm glad the card exists, but I've never found a Metamorph unique, so I refuse to hand it in. I'm currently 652 Metamorphs dry.
Next one will be the one for sure.
I have I have now 8 full sets of Haunting Shadows that but I refuse to hand them in until I have a natural Metamorph drop. And I'm almost done with Mind's Eye. I'm at 5 out of 7.
We have Thunder Metamorph this league. It's time to go ham.
You don't need to. I mean, Valdos is just good enough. Like, and you get 3 organs a map, so it's like. But fuck that bitch. But yeah, Astro Projector is a very, very cool, unique.
Very build enabling too. It makes some skills very different.
There's a lot of cool things like Shockwave Totems. There's like a lot of fun ones.
Yeah, exactly. Was about to say that. The shame that any of the Nova skills are not as powerful as some of the other counterparts, but yeah, definitely a nice, unique.
But even despite what it does, which is the most important thing, it makes Nova skills targetable. So you could play if you have like Shock Nova, you could click a pack and it'll do it. The ring itself has some very good things on it. It's a Topaz ring that has 50 int spell damage and 30% ailment avoidance. Like, that's not to be scoffed at almost. I mean, for a ring slot.
What is ailment avoidance?
30% chance ailment avoidance. So that plus tree, you're ailment capped. Which I feel like people aren't not like talking about, but like to me that seems quite strong. To have ailment avoidance totally.
That's actually really strong.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, another unique way to know where it drops, because this could enable a build in SSF getting this unique.
I do know where it drops actually.
You do?
Yep. So this Mind's Eye drops off of the Burning Man in the Excavation map or the Crystal Ore map. You know, like the map with the 3 bosses.
Yeah.
The one that burns and blows up when you kill him. That's what drops this card.
Fire person, yeah.
Yep, that's what drops this card.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. So if you wanted to farm this card, you for sure could. I think it's actually tier 16 this league or tier 15.
It's a Crystal Ore, right?
Yeah, it's also in a good zone, I think, this league. Let me double check.
I wonder if you can also drop in Act 4.
Possibly, but yeah. But
it would probably take 200 hours to farm.
Yeah, I'm good in that one. Leave that to the bots. The Nova skills though, I don't think there's. I can't look up Nova skills in the wiki. Fucking man, the wiki is just
Pyroclast mine.
Man down.
Used to be
mine, Shock Nova, Dark Pact. Was that? No, Dark Pact. It's not a Nova skill, but it's mostly Shockwave Totem and like one of those things.
Can you not just look up Nova in the wiki? Dead to me. I tried. I gave it all the effort in the world. But yeah, there's a couple cool Novas that could be used. Or Ice Nova was also a good one. Where's the next card? Oh yeah, the next card I think is, at least in my experience, is unconscionably rare. The Offspring, the Resaltus Coil card.
I was surprised.
I found one this entire league. One card.
I found one in my very first Infested Valley map of the league.
Yeah.
And so I figured out where it drops immediately. And I think I got 2 more in like the next 20 or 30 maps. And I keep getting it from stack decks too. I finished 2 sets already, I think. I felt like it's way more common than I thought it would be.
I've only ever gotten 1 this entire league.
Maybe I'm lucky.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I finished 2 sets as well from stack decks, but I don't know. I don't share the sentiment of the Infested Valley thing. I tried to farm it for quite a bit in that map, but didn't get a single time.
I mean, it makes the most sense thematically because it's for Slotho.
It 100% drops. I can guarantee you that from the boss. And I think it even drops in Act 6 from the boss. Someone said he found one there. I mean, it's nice. It's kind of similar to Chevron card, right? Because it's a very strong unique that you could target farm by spamming the same map like hundreds of times. It's a nice goal for SSF.
Resolve is kind of I won't say it's an uninspired unique, but it's like it does something that's to me is kind of lame, which is just gives you more like there's like not that there's no downside, but what is the downside for Resolve's Coil for builds that use it?
There's no downside.
Not really, no.
No downside at all, right? Like there's nothing.
That's why it's the rarest belt in the game, right? Other than Headhunter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's kind of rare, I guess, in a weird way for a build that also has a lot of life and stats. But like...
the neat thing about it is it's better on builds that have huge damage ranges versus small damage ranges.
Yep.
And better on builds like Bleed that only need only the biggest hit counts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's somewhat situational, but yeah, I guess it's a bit too strong baseline Because even on a build that has pretty small range, pretty much any physical base build can get like 10, 15, 20% more damage out of just equipping this.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Is like there's no, not that there's no thought involved in a lot of uniques, but like it's like
there's not really a condition, right? There's a condition
that
the item becomes god tier instead of just good, but it's like always good.
I mean, even for like Shavs, it's like the condition is you're playing low life and there's all those other prerequisites. But for Rislatha's like, oh, playing a physical build, nice, slap on Rislatha's, like that's it.
True.
That's kind of like it feels a little bit uninspired. Even like the 50 life one you stun is like not a negligible amount of life. You hit a pack that's like gonna pretty much put you back to full. I mean,
and a leap slam build stays stunned really easily. You jump into a pack, you stun the entire pack almost.
Yeah. Also, when you're just having higher top end physical, you're stunning more commonly. So it's just good. It's not never not good. And then we have the price. Is that word just pre-science?
I'm not a native English speaker.
Are you a native?
What? I'm not native English speaker, no.
But are you just like a native to your land?
I don't follow.
Okay, that was it.
I'm not a native English speaker. I don't understand this joke.
There's not much to get. Okay. So I like the card art first off. I think it's really cool. And it's very flavorful. You have all the Crystal King and then the Strange Voice guy, and in the back is I believe that's who's it supposed to be?
It's like an incursion altar, right?
Who's the guy getting killed though?
I don't know.
Who do you want it to be? Could be anybody. Just pick some. Matthew McConaughey. Oprah. Somebody. Who do you hate? Tell me who you hate, Manny.
I don't hate anyone. I love everyone.
I don't know. I'm skeptical. Not a native, hates everybody. Understood. So it's a pretty cool card though. I mean, it's 100% Delirious Val map.
Yeah, nice flavor card. Yeah, doesn't really have any impact like balance wise or like anything, but
no,
it's cool.
Yeah, it's
by the time you finish this, the league's probably over. It's not a card.
It's pretty rare. It's
cool.
got a cool flavor text too. Also, the Strange Voice showed all a future where his legacy was forgotten, where new cultures broke themselves upon all's ruined world.
Yeah, why is there all in Val Temple? What is the connection there? All is like this civilization that is completely disconnected from everything else, isn't it?
I thought he was before any of the incursions. Because he's primordial. I assume him as the first people.
Like even older than the Val civilization?
I guess so. I don't know.
Oh, I guess, yeah. I actually just read the flavor text and now it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
The Delirium guy shows all the future where his civilization is not relevant anymore and it's replaced by the Vals. Actually, it makes
which I think sense. Is the thing that happened in Path, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Because he's locked in the fucking deep dark. And Aziri's got her big titties on the surface. Doing Aziri things. See, if all just had big titties, this wouldn't be an issue.
True.
But he has.
I guess that was a positive thing at the end.
Yeah. All for the titties. Ultimately. What else do we have here? Okay. So moving along. No more Q&A.
That was the last card, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Overall, I think the set of diff cards is one of my favorite ones to edit in a long time.
Yeah.
No bullshit cards. I feel like I like pretty much all of them, and some of them are really, really good additions for SSF, like the Val Breach, the Rislatha's.
The Corrupting Blood, yep.
Yeah, that one too. Amazing additions for target farming things that are hard to or annoying to get, really.
Yeah. And a couple more fun little gamble cards like the Costly Curio or that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we probably
I like it.
There being a third alteration card is nice, but it's kind of a necessary evil, which I feel like if you just made Watchstones
alterations,
whatever, it wouldn't issue.
Maybe this is like a good time to like bring this up, but have you guys noticed how they rebalance like currency drop rates over the last couple of leagues?
Dude, fucking Bladestorms don't exist in my opinion. But...
Yeah, they did so much, especially this league.
It's like non-existent. Regals also are very rare.
Yeah, you realize how leagues like Heist League and a lot of other leagues too, like the Delirium in Simulacrums, you never found a single alteration orb, right? They very much didn't exist. But this Expedition League, alterations are like the most common reward everywhere. You get
Yep.
shout and alterations. Which
Yeah, I've been
it's a
using
big shift in balance really in like currency. Like my currency tab looks completely different than in other leagues.
I've been using the Bladestorm Beast to bless things because I run out of Bladestorms. So I've been using that.
Divine Orb Beast that happens.
Yeah, the Divine Orb. Yeah, bless. Well, I've really just been using it for blessing. I haven't even been using it for the divine portion.
It's a time to farm the Leo once in research for the Blessed Orb.
And honestly, though, it's it's kind of crazy how rare it is. It's one of those things where it's like you've got the uses to get a perfect roll implicit or craft, right? And it's like, say I run out of that, how do you actively try to get more? If I had to get alterations, there's things I could do. I could vendor whatever. I could farm, even like delve nodes to hit whatever table. Like if I had to get unique or alchemies, I'll just vendor a bunch of trash uniques. Like it's like a gun to my head. Go get blessed orbs. It's like, okay, I can't. I mean, like I don't think I can do.
Maps and do 2 gens probably, but yeah, it's not a fast process.
Yeah.
You get by the time you get 100 blessed orbs, you found 3k alterations or something.
Oh, I mean, it's probably like 30,000
from the same
it's crazy.
Yeah, especially in a league that you actually need blessed orbs quite frequently for even logbooks, right?
Oh yeah. Logbook, the variations are so massive for some of the roles, like especially if it's like chance to have additional suffix, which is the strongest, probably in my opinion, the strongest modifier for logbooks. The number goes from like 10 to 30 or 10 to 40, so it's like I don't want to have 11% chance. I want to have that.
Are there like any crazy blessed orb sync items? I'm trying to think of like an item that would use like hundreds of blessed orbs.
There are, but not Vanguard belt, I guess. But you're not going to be using it.
Maybe a marble amulet or something.
Yeah.
Most items they only need like 5 to 10, not usually done.
Yeah, unless you're crafting, because most of the recipes require 5 blessed orbs. I can't roll caster thing as 5 blessed orbs or something.
True.
But it's not
maybe
that
that's
much.
Why they rebalanced that. So
yeah, who knows?
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the currency was like balance was a bit off, and they kind of brought it back to where they want it to be. The regal orbs and blessed orbs, they're rare again, and the common orbs like alterations, they're common again. They kind of fixed that in over multiple leagues. I think they already did it a bit last league.
I wish they would make exalted drop more frequently, because it seems like that's something they keep harping on, is us wanting to use exalted orbs, but the drop rate seems to not be increased.
To our good friend exalted orb recipe, sir.
Yeah, well, how often do you use the exalted orb recipe? Do you use it that often, the exalted orb recipe?
I would use it more often if 2gen wouldn't give us a crazy amount of exalts this league.
Yeah, I had to use almost 20 exalted pure to craft my fucking boots I had. So sometimes you just get those sinks where it's like crazy. Like trying to craft things, it gets a bit ridiculous in Soul Self-Found when you're involving like. Yeah. You finish like your suffixes and you're trying to do like prefixes with like veiled modifiers. Like every attempt is like 4 exalted.
Ever since the Harvest nerfs, the crafting shifted to using in Harvest League you use pretty much no exalts at all. I think I used like 2x in the entire Harvest.
Now it's like a lot of exalts.
And now like every item needs exalted orbs to be finished.
Yeah.
Every step is a meta craft.
Yeah.
For like these GG endgame items.
Yeah, but I don't mind it. I mean, it's something to like. It's not difficult in a 8 or 10 hour play session to get like 3 or 4 exalted even through various means. It's just kind of much. There's some cool things you can do in the Atlas with like speaking of in general like cool interactions, if you want to call it that. We were talking earlier about Atlas strategies and cool interactions. There's a lot of like specific zones. I kind of at the moment at least I'll pick like 3 zones to focus on. So when I favorite my maps, I'll favorite like 1, 14, 15, and 16 in each different zone. And I'll pretty much just bounce between those zones doing, XYZ mechanic. At the moment, I'm really just doing like for Lyra, I'll do like Bestiary and Heist. And then for like Tyrion, I'll do like Bestiary, exotic goods type stuff. And then Abyss. And then I'll just do like farming, whatever ritual in Hamtown. What kind of zones you guys been really delving into, and like what interactions have you been enjoying in those?
Yeah, for me it's been pretty varied this league. I've been in more zones than usual in Expedition, because I've done a lot of things in it. So I've done ritual farming, harvest farming, and hay work, bestiary farming in both Tyrants and Lyra, depending on what I want really from the the B scarabs or the missions. Some delving, which is like Proxima and also Alva and Glenna. So if you do a lot of different activities, varied activities in SSF, like you're just gonna keep bouncing between the zones. But
yeah,
it's also Lexa Joris that I don't have all the points still.
Yeah, Lexa Joris is fucking terrible. Like it's just it's so bad, dude.
I gotta chime in here, and I run a lot of Joris this league, more than usual, because I gave Kadiro a real shot at delivering an Enlightener in power.
Oh my god.
And it was hopeless. He didn't give me anything.
I did one Kadiro though in Lex Duris, and I did get it at Zero's foible, so I can't say too much shit, but it is terrible. Honestly, I feel like new Vestir. I think Vestir is pretty bad too now after they nerfed Emblematic.
Oh, hold on. New Vestir is my favorite, or one of my favorites.
Because of Anarchy or what?
No, because of the Azurite node.
Oh,
it's pretty neat for SSF, honestly, because I don't want to spend time delving. I got a lot of other mechanics to farm. The game's pretty bloated, right?
Yeah.
And you want to do heist and everything as well. So I decided to cut out delving completely. But I do get fossils from 2gen and other mechanics.
Yep.
And running the new Vestir with it's called Out of the Blue.
Yep.
Gives you a 20% chance for gaining Azurite equal amount as a Sulfite. So just spamming maps there with Nico missions on them, you get Azurite pretty frequently, and
so you'll get amount. Like if you put in a mission in a tier 16, you'll probably get like 1.5 to 2k Sulfites. You get 1.5 to 2k Azurite per
20% of
click.
The time, but you get free clicks. So you get like 1,000 Azurite per map, something like that. And you can buy 5 resonators with that. That's enough to use your perfect fossils, your enchanted fossils.
Yep, those are the big ones.
Even spamming a couple like
Dents or something or whatever. Yeah.
Dents for shields, exactly. This league for a shield throw. Very nice, very nice. And
that's fair.
So I didn't step into delve at all, and I used all my fossils as I wanted to. I'm actually pretty happy about it.
Interesting part of that is now that you say that, I would love to do that. But one of the problems I've been facing at least is that I've kind of been like in the same boat as Legi, where I've been bouncing around a lot. And I feel like the drop rate of Unmaking Orbs, for me at least, is kind of like not to the point where I would like to when it comes to how much I want to swap zones. Like I'm more than like happy to bounce around, but I really don't ever receive Unmaking Orbs outside of invitations. And it's kind of annoying that I want to swap around stuff, but it's like I can't because it might take me, I might get like maybe even one Unmaking Orb a day even if I do like 5, 10, 6, whatever invitations. So it's kind of annoying for that. But I feel like if you come up with a better plan initially, then like if you just you knew you were going to do that, that's fine. But if I already have stuff established, I mean, I want to swap out of that. It kind of feels a little bit bad that I can't like just maybe like must be something. Maybe with like a recipe for making orbs eventually or something. But
yeah, I would like them to be a bit more common, especially that we are getting the Atlas changes next league. But I'm pretty skeptical about that. But yeah, you just have to do invitations. Be flexible, really.
Yeah, I do like though in Vestir. I mean, it sucks that the nerf to Emblematic I was talking about. I think we went over this before, but they changed the stack size drop. So if you kill if you have like a Legion in New Vestir and it spawns a boss and you kill the boss, they'll drop like 10 splinters in one pile.
I think that's fixed already. If you're referring to that, so it was like that, but
I had it happen on Thursday. Where it ate all 10 and just dropped 1 emblem. So it's at least, I'm not sure if it's not growing independently, but it's at least consuming the entire pile still. So I'm not sure what was. But
that's weird.
The issue was, whether it's changed or not, I don't know. But the issue was that since it's dropping in one pile of 10 versus 10 individual piles of 1, you're not rolling that 0.1 pool or 1% pool for Emblematic to proc to drop a full stone. But even then, it kind of feels just bad to do Legion since they removed all the Legion uniques.
Yeah.
Like, if you I'll get my timeless jewels.
To get the jewels though.
And then I won't go back, and then that's like, all right, I'm good. Like I just don't have much of a desire to go back at that point. So it kind of feels bad to invest into Legion in any zone when realistically I could just get Legion from generic drops or whatever and just do better things elsewhere.
I mean, in Vestir, there's not really a good alternative since the Abyss and Anarchy stuff isn't really.
Listen, the Anarchy node is amazing. Okay, how dare you?
Sure, but I'm not gonna spend all my time farming. I can skip that.
Every time I have Infused Anarchy, though, I do put it in New Vestir, and it's very fun to see 20 exiles with random shit drops.
You want to know my introduced anarchy strat?
What?
It's the Rogue Exiles drop additional jewels.
Oh yeah,
Sexton,
yeah.
And then Uniques drop Corrupted Sexton, and then you blast that for 3 or 4 times, and you get a couple CB or reduced mana jewels usually.
It is valid.
Also divines.
We talked about bestiary. I have a general, like, I tend to almost always have bestiary in Tyrn and in Lyra, because what I normally do is I'll use my missions in Tyrn because all I care about in Tyrn is proccing Great Migration, which is a 10% chance to just have the entire map be beasts. So I just use my dailies in Tyrn and hoping for that 10% chance, and if I have scarabs, I use them in Lyra, which I have fully crafted for, like, I think it's all crafted of the caverns, which is the spider one, because I'm trying to get split spiders. So I'll just do the scarabs and lures in Lyra, and I'll do my dailies in Tyrn, and to me that feels like the best value for bestiary.
Yeah, I agree.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yep. They're nice. And then there's also that one Einhar node. Was it like Big Game Hunter, where he just becomes a Giga Chad?
Yeah, the Giga Chad.
I actually have that in because it's just like a leftover 2-pointer that I can't do anything better with, so I just take it.
Because I mean, I will say though that Lyra is also, in my opinion, the best place for Breach. Like, Breach in Lyra is very, very good.
It's also the best to farm blighted maps. It's a really strong zone.
I think it could be the strongest. Maybe that, or what do you think? That or Hamworks are some of the stronger zones. What do you think the best zone is? I'd probably say Hamworks still, but
it's hard to say best because it really depends on what you want to do.
Yeah,
but it's definitely a zone that is always relevant. Like, you want at least one of those mechanics is going to be relevant to you if you're playing SSF.
Yeah,
like maybe beasts, heist, blighted maps, breach, stones. Something will be relevant
for sure.
You're always going to step into Lyra at some point.
Lyra is a strong zone. Very good. Yeah. Very, very good.
I think the strongest zone, if we talking about that, is Tyrn's End overall. Tyrn's End is
very good. Yeah,
amazing for many different things. You get your generic rewards from
sweet exotic goods, baby.
Yep, that's the most important node in
the entire game,
especially early on. Yeah, and you get your Atlas base, not Atlas bases, the 86 bases from Lightless Legion.
Yep.
And then if you want Delirium, you get more Delirium, and then you utilize Einhar as well, which is such a great zone overall. Like, so diverse.
Yeah, everything's useful there too. Multiple options to build a tree, and it's useful. Can't say the same for other regions, right? Like Glennick or Vastia, I feel like I'm taking the same points for 4 leagues in a row.
Yeah, I mean, Glenn is just like an autofill for Incursion. I mean, is it never not just Incursion Beyond? Like, what are you guys picking for Glenn? Is that, or sometimes I pick the Strongbox ones, but
it's pretty much just Incursion. The rest doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Beyond this league,
so good. Yeah.
Strongboxes are decent too.
I had I kind of fallen off favor of the Strongboxes because I just I feel like the 6-links are not dropping the amount that they should be dropping. Maybe I'm just getting unlucky because it should be a 1 in 128 chance for the rare to become a 6-link when valid, right? I think is what it is.
I don't remember the number.
Well, whatever it is, I feel like it's just not happening enough, like, to where I would just rather have the Beyond shit to be full, because Beyond is just experience, it's drops, it's generic currency.
Yeah, for me it's usually just 8-point zone with the 2 and 4 points in Beyond and the bottom ones, and
yep.
Either choose the Strongbox or the lot Beyond. So it's literally an alpha zone. If you want to do
alpha nodes are crazy.
I mean, I can't even imagine doing Incursion without them now. To be honest, like it really is like everything. I mean, it does seem kind of a.
Actually, Ajoras has a point here, because we have Sana Delirium this league, right? And I haven't had much time to farm it because there's so many other mechanics that need to be farmed for SSF now. But for farming Sana Delirium, Lex Ajoras is a pretty solid option, because the Alba missions that always have full blue ones in them, they drop a lot of splinters.
Yeah.
And you got some decent layouts like Promenade in there that are good for splinter farming.
But then, say you have splinters, like. Simulacrum feels kind of shit. Like, I mean, to me at least, I've run a good amount of Simulacrums, and running Simulacrum not getting unique now just feels sad. Like, It takes so long. Running a simulacrum takes so long that I mean, you're just hunting for split personality megalomaniac and
good rewards overall. It's just usually you spend your time farming something specific on top of getting the good generic rewards.
Yeah.
And just having good generic rewards doesn't really cut it anymore. Especially that Expedition gives you those generic rewards from logbooks and 2gen anyways, just passively while playing the game and running the mechanic.
I think next league I'm gonna go hard in Lexajoris, and then really I'm gonna put on that rogue metamorph just because I want to get fucking rocked.
Off that note.
Yeah, but it looks so cool. I just want to get one shot across the map by some crazy metamorph mob.
Yeah.
Because metamorphs are.
But I nerfed it because it felt like one of the weakest passives in the whole atlas, and then after the first league that we had these trees,
yeah,
they nerfed these metamorph nodes in Ajoris significantly. Like they halved the chance to get it.
They nerfed Seance also, the ghost one.
Yeah, but that was the nerf, to be honest.
Yeah.
I got my Anglers plate from those ghosts, 2 of them.
Fair. Any other things you guys have been doing in the Atlas that's like particularly spicy?
Legi mentioned the Lightless Legion in Tyrann's End, where you get +3 levels in your Abyssal Depths.
Yeah.
And it is really good, especially this league, since we have Sana Abyss. So it's a good way to target farm high-level bases early on in the league when you're just starting your run.
Once you get to level 90, though, 2gen's already selling everything. That's the thing is, like, well, this league is kind of weird because the vendors kind of have it all.
Yeah, exactly.
If you find one Abyssal Depths, and you're gonna get the base that you need because it has so many monsters in it too.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
So might still be faster to get your Astral Plate, for example, there than waiting for a 2gen to sell you one that is, or not 2gen, Gwennen to sell you one that's 86.
The nice part also about the way that the Abyss nodes are set up is Underground Kingdom, the one that gives you the higher chance of getting liches, is in the very beginning of it. So if you are really just care about getting Abyss uniques even, Tyrn allows you to get 8 points in other places and then be like, all right, forget the currency, forget the idle bases, I just want to farm liches. You have the exact same chance whether you have 1 point or 2 points in or 6 points in. So that's kind of nice.
For sure.
Have you ever gotten the Delirium nodes in Tyrn? I can't say that I have.
I used to get them. This league I skipped them, but the other leagues before that I always got those.
Yeah.
I usually get the first node just to get the mirror, to just get generic stuff while farming exotic goods or Reinhardt. It's okay.
Like the other nodes that make it easier to push the levels, so like the progress of Delirium, they don't really have much impact because it doesn't matter if you get 4, 5, or 6 rewards for the most part. You're gonna get your 1 cluster jewel drop and your like 10 splinters in like a random layout anyway. It doesn't really matter if it lasts like 10 seconds longer,
Yeah.
Unless you're farming tropical islands.
It's also so layout. That's what I was gonna say. It's like so layout dependent that the value of whatever that offers on a map that's not as good as just not having that, but doing a Trop Island, it's like night and day. I mean, a Trop Island will just offer more than those 4 nodes just because the layout's so much more conducive to doing Delirium. I noticed something interesting with Big Game. They have a 15% chance to become in pairs. I'm not sure if it's a fucking bug or what, but every single time, this has happened now 5 times, I get the bird boss. They've always been doubled.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't say the same.
I've never gotten the bird boss outside of doubled, and I've only gotten it doubled. Oh, that's actually, I forgot to mention that earlier. I did build the tornado build this league, also the bird build.
Nice.
I found all the uniques for it, including the both upgraded rings and everything. I divide them perfectly, and it's fucking terrible, but it's a lot of fun to just shit out tornadoes. What a divine sync though you have to get the gloves and the boots to -2 aspect duration. It's like I'm good. And it has no damage because you're playing assassin poison shitter build. But
sounds fun though.
I love bestiary uniques. I wish you could build them like I don't know if paths should have set bonuses, but to me that's the closest thing currently is bestiary uniques, where it's like wearing a full set of gear and being like, this is I'm the bird man, I'm the cat man now.
Bestiary uniques are somewhat similar.
Some of them are detrimental to have even together. Like the crab one is, some of them are weird together and other ones, but Yeah, Bestiary is cool though. I just really love the thematics of the. I wish they did more thematic uniques kind of like that. They also have like
I think that
art.
making sets like that or like designing set bonuses like that, it's really good. So it doesn't really give you that insane power, like for example in other games maybe. But it's just very well thematically
just
suited.
Nice little interaction, and not even again like I would say each beast probably has one really good piece in it at least. I mean the weakest would be the crab, but I think the crab chest is even pretty solid.
It's a very strong chest. I mean, it has been like one of the top chests before we got influence.
Oh, especially for even in hardcore, I would imagine even more so because it's full bleed immunity, tons of life, like armor. The bird chest is might even still be best in slot for most summoners, I think. A lot of builds. It's just like 60 all stats and everything else it has.
Yeah.
Spider even has the chest is... Spider's is fine. The gloves and boots are also fine. Aspect of the spider is like so strong. I mean, in general. Then obviously the big dick Feral's fur is like Giga Chad item, but
yeah, the best uniques definitely aged really well.
They have, yes, they have.
Like really more relevant now than on release, really.
And actually, to the point we said earlier, I'm pretty sure not all of them, but 90% of bestiary uniques have pretty good res in them. Like they have resistances that are quite high, or life on them. Like they have like very good stats outside of that. So like even you have like the crab chest, it has 30 fire and cold, 120 life. Like the crab gloves, 40 res. The crab boots, movement speed, life res. Feral's helmet, res. Feral's boots, movement speed, like life. Like they tick all the boxes, kind of. So even if like they have their own unique whatever, even if, venomous boots have movement speed, res, double res, triple res, and everything else. So like they have everything you kind of want, which is I think is why they're so prevalent as uniques. That's because they have obviously what they do best, but they also offer so many other secondary stats. Bird chest has 75 all attributes, res, mana reservation reduction. Every single boot has.
Yeah, that's why I'm always. Yeah, that's why I'm always sad when GG releases uniques without those secondary stats. The unique effect might be amazing, right? But if you don't have the supporting,
they have to have at least life, res, or stats, yes. Like some combination of two. Otherwise, it's probably just not going to cut it unless it's like so bananas like that. It's going to be.
Yeah.
There's just really not many things that fit that box. Even if you look at Asenath, because it's like, I mean, it has 80 life, 80 mana, like, and has int on it, on top of just being insane. Like, so the things that are already the upper echelon uniques, they still tick the boxes. So when you release these like middling and lesser uniques as far as power level goes, and you don't even give us the stats to res the life, it's like, I don't say dead on arrival, but like, did you want them to be used?
I would say they are.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, like talking about great uniques from the past, and like relevant uniques, like as I said, my favorite unique was Aziri's Step, right? So
still good.
Another.
Still good.
Yeah, another example of things that that are really important in uniques. Just have some kind of baseline and some unique thing about them. So those are the best ones, I would say.
True.
They do tick all the boxes.
Any more Atlas strats? Any more passives that you like this league? I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know if I should even mention this, but like the Valdo June notes have been probably my MVP this league. Once more.
Oh, the rank up, the double rank up thing for the. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah.
And it's really good for farming XP, and then it's obviously really good for both farming scarabs and winged scarabs, and then also the Ashling slams, Leo slams, all the good stuff.
Yep. Betrayal is still large and abound. One of the more powerful mechanics in the game for such multifaceted purposes. Like you said, experience-wise, safe houses are like super juiced. Drop-wise, you get all the little nuggets of goodness. Not to mention just honestly just IDing. I'm not sure if you guys still unveil the drops they have, but I still unveil things, and a lot of those unveils are quite strong. Since they're not.
Yeah,
not
pretty much removed all my rares on the filter, but the rings from Betrayal, right? So that's really as a testament how good those rares could be, right?
Yeah, gloves and boots especially, I would say, are the ones that I look for veiled modifiers, because if you just hit, life res and you unveil into like one of the good movement speed things, like the 42% move when you're not hit type thing, like those are really strong. Or even conversion gloves that have like the double 30 stats are super super good. So it's just on top of the fact that like it was a double pronged derf, making them not considered crafted mods, because obviously for meta crafting and like conditional crafting, you could have done cooler things if failed mods were considered crafted mods, as far as removing them if they're not good and saving items. But it also is nice because the fact that they're not crafted mods means now that we get them on items, we could then craft something else on it. So it kind of worked both ways, especially for Souls Outbound.
Yeah, I think Betrayal is still one of the most powerful. I mean, not the one or most powerful. I think it's the most powerful league and mechanics in Souls Outbound. Like, if you want to have good gear, and like high level characters, like you just always can go Betrayal. And
yeah, to me it's either that or Heist. I don't know which one I would consider generically better.
I would say Heist is just good for general general goodies and like currency, but we have Expedition, so that's covered already. But Betrayal gives you all the unique rewards compared to.
I think Expedition might be the best mechanic. If we're including that might be number one for me then. That ticks between all the three vendors. I think that ticks every box almost for me.
Yeah, I think Expedition is my second most favorite mechanic, and Betrayal is the first one. So yeah, those are great things.
They're definitely both like S tier as far as like their usefulness is. Not to be understated.
It's not only the usefulness for me; it's also the fun, really.
Yep.
Like the gameplay, momentum on the gameplay for those mechanics. It's just very fun and flavorful as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
definitely a great thing.
The other thing I was no, I lost it. My mind is just a giant potato.
You lost it.
I've got the Alzheimer's. What was I gonna say? Valdos. I think the one thing I've been doing also for zones is just Valdos for Metamorph, but that's just like a forever thing. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it, but at least that there's nice maps this time around. They have Courtyard as a tier 16. There's Triple Boss, so if you use Polished Scarabs with Metamorph, you're getting a lot of organ options.
Yeah, you can bounce between Courtyard and Underground Sea, which is the natural, so you can like pretty much supply infinite amount of Courtyards.
Then also Arena, which is a miserable layout, but at least has 3 bosses,
and also drops Lioness Part, which is important in this league. So that's that. But yeah.
You mentioned Betrayal. Really... Sorry, I don't cut you if you keep going.
No, it's fine. You can go on.
I was saying Betrayal, one of the things that it's kind of evolved so much as far as like they've actively updated all the Betrayal members and their pools, and then you have Guff, who
they buffed him too.
Yeah, but they could buff him all they want. I'm sleeping on Guff. They thematically, it's very upsetting to me that they release replicas, which are knockoff counterfeit items of uniques, and they have Guff in Betrayal, who is a counterfeit smuggler that is in his lore. He's a Brian Rot counterfeit bootlegger, and he doesn't have the like. I would love to see Guff, tier 4 Guff, turn a unique into replica version of itself.
Oh, that would be way too strong.
I think it'd be fine.
You can make a beta breath in 2 seconds.
But then what does that do? It would lose all value, so it's irrelevant. It's a worthless unique inherently. I mean, I think it'd be so cool to have. Or like a 25% chance, and another otherwise like breaks it or something.
It would have to be a small chance, yeah.
Or they could just make it so he drops. They can make it so he drops 3 replicas, like Kamiria does for whatever.
That's better probably. But if you can like make your own replica, then the whole point of farming Heist is gone. Because if you need a replica, you're just gonna guff it. It's gonna be faster to target farm it that way than running random blueprints.
Well, then make it just generically drop, like from Kamiria. Yeah. That'd be fine then, Or even just make him drop Heist stuff. That would be even better. Like, drops rogue markers, then he drops contracts, and drops blueprints.
Very
that would be great.
Yeah. I'm going to go email Chris right now. Dear Mr. Wilson.
I've actually used Guff for the first time efficiently this league.
Oh, don't say that.
I don't know if it was intervention or research, but in one of them he has chaos spam. And
for what?
I used it on cluster jewels like Fatal Jewel or something early on in the league.
Oh God.
You can actually spend like 50 or 60 chaos. No, it's a minute.
Oh, it's a minute. I don't know.
It's
man.
like 50 chaos.
Yeah, but 50
and
chaos
you get
now
two of
is
them.
like
you get
nothing.
2 of them when it's level 4. So you have like 100 chaos. It's not the worst. Or spamming for like Tailwind Boot, right? Because you can't target those with any fossil or a reforge.
Yeah. But you also there's no menu to type in, right? Like you can't type the word in bracket Tailwind, so you have to actually look for it.
You just spam chaos like
I've
Chris
got
intended.
I've got a fucking Pepega brain that I can't be doing that.
Manni's trying to bait us into guff.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm not baiting you. I'm just saying.
Manni works for Big Guff.
Just saying, sure, dude.
Big Pharma.
I've been ignoring him for like 3 leagues, but this league.
Yeah, but you can make it 4 leagues.
I did so many Katarinas. At some point, I had this Guff there and I used it and I realized, wait, this is not bad. I just got 50 chaos, and so I kept using him.
You're the one man in the corner rooting for him. Why are you doing so many Katarinas though? Just for?
Because I was going for level 100. And I was in Valda's Rest only because of June mission, so I ended up doing a lot of Katarinas. And
did you get any good staffs? Any good Kulamek staffs?
Funnily enough, I didn't get any staffs at all in like 30 Katarinas, but then I played BPL, and my first or second Katarina dropped one that ended up being very, very good. It was like physical damage, attack speed, and double damage or something. It was nuts.
No, it's pretty good.
I
didn't get that big stuff this league myself.
It's such a nice item though that they added. Like I love when they add these kind of like meme shit.
Yeah.
You know, because
it's not really meme shit. It's a really good item.
Well,
so
9 times out of 10, your Cane of Coolmax gonna be like, you know, not good, but it'll be passable.
I don't know about that. I think most of the time you're gonna get something decent out of the cane.
So even,
I got 4
caster
of them
stuff.
this league, I think. Yeah, if you're a caster, yes.
Caster staff builds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can Lightning Bolt with that, I guess. But yeah, my big cane this league was.
You got a big cane?
+3, just. I do.
You want to show me your big cane?
Check the DMs.
Could.
Check my.
I mean, I did already show my big cane.
Show big cane.
You know what I mean? All right, give me a second.
Pull out your big cane.
Yeah, it's getting pulled out. Right here.
You can hear the zipper going down. Big cane's on the move.
Unique tab zipper, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the big cane.
Big cane.
So it's +3 to support skill gems, 91 to chaos dot multi, and 172 to chaos damage and skill evacuation.
That's such a unrealistic cane, though. I mean, like that's like a 1 in 1,000 unveils. You're probably hitting that.
I mean that's all right. I mean that's the high end you can.
Well, okay. So is it all right or is it high end? Which one could you get any better?
This one is okay. Okay, this one is high end, but I did hit a generic spell damage one with like I think 170 spell damage +3 and cast speed, and that's not outlandish in my opinion.
I don't know. I've probably done like 10 canes. They've all been horseshit. So I don't know.
Really? I guess get better at the game.
Like, I think I should get better. I'm
yes.
gonna go play Minecraft and I'll train my skills. So I can be the cane god. We talked a little bit earlier about next league predictions. It's on the itinerary. I don't really have anything for next league predictions except for I guess we could talk about the proclamations that Chris has made for such outlandish changes like revamping the Watchstone system and introducing a hard mode. And we don't. Just to clarify very clearly, we have no fucking clue what they're going to do specifically and what's going to actually happen. There's just no way to tell until the day of patch notes, and it's like, this is actually happening. And we could go off of the hints and whatnot, like hard mode will be, you know, no or limited vendor access, no gems, and less item dropping, more emphasis on crafting your own gear and progressing at a more slower and progressed pace, and whatever the fuck is happening with the Atlas tree. What would you like to see, if anything, for changes in line with these sort of things? And what are your hesitations also, like your reservations towards these changes?
I mean, the simplified Atlas sounds like a good thing in theory, but we're gonna have to see how they do it. I would hate if we lose complexity, like the good complexity,
that's my fear, is that when they say we're going to go from 40 to 20 stones, that means we're losing half of echoes. And I don't know if they're just going to crunch the zones together, and if they do, that's fine. That'll be even better. But I'm really scared they're just going to like chop off half of echoes. And that's like, in my opinion, Echoes of the Atlas has probably been the best and healthiest change for the game in like 6 years. So I'd be very sad to say
it has its flaws, and maybe they just hit those flaws and they're gonna make it even greater. But we'll see how it goes.
It'd be nice to see if, because at the moment the progression of your Maven is not 1-to-1 with the progression of your Echo, like your Cirrus progression. Like the rate in which you're accruing stones and progressing through Cirrus doesn't always line up with when you're doing Mavens and progressing through the Maven invitations. And that'd be kind of, if they could make that more seamless and make it a little bit shorter for like players that don't have as much time to play, especially, that would be nice. And if that's their intention, I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. But it's just like a very delicate, like you're saying, it's a very delicate situation, and if they oversimplify it or maybe they crunch it too much, it kind of becomes like a lot of the zones currently, which is like a no thought situation. It's like, oh, I'm doing incursion, I go to Glenn. Like that's kind of, I don't necessarily want that. I want there to be like thought to be involved. Like, oh, I'm farming specifically vials, so I'll go to this zone, or I would just want to farm the experience from incursion, I'll go to this zone. Like I like that type of thing. The more.
Yeah, we do have a bit of that, right?
At the moment, but that's what I'm afraid. I mean, it's just a bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that little bit might be the bit that gets chomped, because that's going to be the first thing to go.
That's my biggest fear as well, coming into the new patch, right? They're gonna remove the complexity and then flexibility that we have right now, and just don't account for those minute details that make those passives really good.
I think diverse. The amount of passives currently, obviously they require balance among them and updating, that's without question, but the framework for the amount of passives we have, to me, feels pretty much perfect. Like I like the amount I'm able to bounce between zones. I just wish, obviously, that certain things were more balanced or more enticing, and then on top of that, I wish I had more ease of swapping between them, i.e. and making orbs. So as long as those things get retained,
we have too many passives right now, in my opinion. Like it's too much duplication. So I kind of agree with that reduction of them would be a good thing, but definitely we need more making orbs. Like, unless you farm endgame really religiously, right?
You know, they should just make a recipe that's like 40 regrets, which is the most unused orb in the game.
Yeah, something to give us more options, right? But yeah.
Any other predictions, Manni Legi, for 3.16?
Yeah, I don't really want to speculate too much. I'm gonna wait for the announcements because they've been telling a lot of things in these podcasts, and sometimes they even like contradict each other or they change their plans.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna wait till it's like finalized, and overall I'm pretty optimistic. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, same here. I'm pretty optimistic. I'm mostly looking forward to the Flask change again, even though the Flasks are in decent spot right now, but really looking forward to what they can cook up with the new Flasks.
And the idea of hard mode being, again, we don't know for sure. Really, it could be anything. Like, or it could not even happen. We have no idea what will happen with it. But if a hard mode does come out, and what they refer to as hard mode, which I think is a bad title in the first part, which is because not really harder. Mode, it's really just like starvation mode. If anything, it's like
I think they call it masochist mode, right? In some quotes.
I don't know if masochism is even the right. That seems even more intense. Like it's not going to be more difficult. I mean, if it is more difficult, I hope the difficulty is not like Gauntlet difficulty, which is just artificially cranked numbers. I hope it's like a difficulty in mechanics or in some sort of enemy you're fighting. But if it's just like we don't have access to vendors and that's the game mode, that could be interesting. But I don't see myself ever playing that for 3 months. That's for sure. Like it'd be like a 1 week thing at most. So
I like the idea of like something that is harder than SSF, like a harder mode, more restrictions, without going into hardcore, because right now there's nothing else I can do to make the game harder other than swapping to hardcore SSF or something, right?
Yeah.
Or starting from SSF. And I would like the idea of a mode that is like more challenging, just so, you know, there's new challenges, new things to try and overcome to keep the game fresh, without having like this intense hardcore vibe where, you know, you gotta be on your toes at non-stop. You have to be at like 100%. You can't just like casually play the game on like 50% brain capacity, you know?
That's what I definitely agree that.
That's why I like softcore so much.
Because there is, you know, much like untested interactions, such as maybe things like Hateforge sneaking in or things like the Spectral Shield Thrower Helmet, there's a lot of fuckery when it comes to the enemies in Path of Exile that get snuck through the cracks, and there's just so many one-shot mechanics and things that like just don't operate in a very hardcore-centric setting. Like, the idea to me of hardcore is that you die to something, you learn from that mistake, you build or play around it, and then it shouldn't be an issue again. But at the moment, I think Path isn't very conducive to that kind of Dark Souls learning environment, because there's just you can't even see sometimes what's happening. There's such a cacophony of abilities and effects and nonsense that you don't even. It's hard to identify what mistake you made if you even made one. So I don't like that aspect of hardcore, but I like hardcore in the sense of restriction, like you're saying. All of us have played at some point some restricted version of Path, whether it's
like
Gucci Hobo, or me spinning a wheel to fucking pick a build, or you choosing to only use certain classes or certain skills. And those are, I think, restrictions, self-imposed or operating in the vacuum of a restriction is very, very healthy and very fun, because then it doesn't the pacing is up to us, and the level of investment's up to us at how well we want to play the game or how we want to go about it, and that's what breeds interesting strategies, right? Like, oh, I'm going to do this one aspect of Gucci Hobo because I think this, you know, popping this one chest for 10 hours might yield the best result, like, you know, whatever that might be. I like the idea of hard mode, if you want to call it, whatever they're going to call it, as being an environment conducive to that. Like, that sounds super, super sexy. I just hope it's not just like Onslaught League. Like, that is not hard mode. That is just numbers, like one integer moved up is not hard mode. That's just not fun for me. I don't think either.
I hope for the same thing, really. Just introducing restrictions and overcoming challenges is always the thing that...
Yeah, the gem idea could be so fascinating if gems were like really fucking rare. And it's like you get your starter gem, and then like you might get one gem a zone. You might even have to like, you know, be using like jank supports. Like you have Fireball linked to like blind and like added lightning, and that's all you got. And it's like, that's, to me, that's kind of cool. Like,
yeah, the game's gonna feel like a roguelike then, right? Because you can't just go into the run and say, I'm gonna play this build, because you're gonna have to adapt to what you find and make your own build from that. And it's gonna be very jank and it's gonna be very bad. But
within then, even regrets and passive refunds become a finite resource, because you might find new things that are better but require you to swap your tree around. And if the actual orbs of regret are less frequent, maybe you're like, now I have to like be smart about how I want to build my tree so it's flexible. So there's tons of aspects of, you know, coolness within there. I just hope they fucking don't shit the bed on that, because there's so much potential for a cool thing.
I agree.
Especially for like a 1 or 2 week like private league or a charity event or event type thing. Like,
yeah, I could totally see myself going back and forth between a normal game and hard mode when I get bored of the normal game. You know, go back and forth. That could be great to keep the game fresh.
Yeah,
I hope it's good.
But I also don't like when they mention these things a month and a half before it's even done. It's like we have all this. It's like, you know, we've been given false hope almost. I just
I almost feel like I'm having less fun this league because I already know so much about the next league, you know?
That's a big problem with I think announcing anything so far in advance. It's like, have not that like they've given up, but like, is Expedition already a watch to you that like this is what's happening, or is this like a requirement of the current gaming industry that we just have to like, we just release this and then, oh, it's been 5 minutes, all right, this is what's happening next. Like, it's like, okay, I'm having fun right now, please leave me alone, I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's just to put out the fire that we had in Expedition launch. Just people are really angry, so they said what we can expect next week. So maybe that's that. But definitely looking forward to hard mode if it's what we hope it is.
It'd be so cool. Well, I think it would be definitely within line that if it is close to what we're describing, I mean we'll host some event for it next league if it does come out without question. And we'll give what do we got? Like, Legi will sign a pair of his boxers and send them in or something to the winner. Signed pair of underwear.
I've already done that to Lighty, so
good.
Yeah, more people.
I'll just play for fun then, but I would join anyway. I don't need a prize.
You're gonna get the fucking prize. You're gonna get the signed boxers.
Some
gonna be worn.
nice boots from Manni.
Oh yeah.
Yo, random question.
Yep.
Have you guys found any like +1s for your collection? Anything really rare randomly this league?
Oh, yep, couple. Yeah, I found. I had
what did you find?
Shav's Revelation. I got from Gwen. I was missing Shav's Revelation for over a year.
Amazing.
I know. The only time I ever had a drop was when I did the Able Gamers charity. Our first blight map, I dropped one. I was like, I'm gonna fucking eat a bullet. It was so tilted.
It's from Onslaught League, I think.
Yep.
Where's it from?
Yeah.
So Anarchy like very, very old.
So old. I was also almost done with the card set. And I was like, okay, here we are. Finally have it. I think I also got. I got a replica Wind Ripper also. I've done so many replicas. I feel like, high hundreds. I'm still missing so many. It boggles my mind.
Yeah.
But
yeah, replicas are just so random. From what I know, it's just so much randomness.
It's just an endless grind on those replicas.
Yeah, I've done like 700 heists overall, like replica grand heists. I mean, I got most of them except the baited breath, so I think I was lucky to put it in perspective.
How many Cortexes did you get?
I got really lucky on them. I think I had like 5 of them after a week, including 2 or 3 from Tujin. He gave me.
Oh, sorry, I meant replica Cortex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually missing that one still.
I got 3 of them, which is quite lucky, I would say.
I've heard from Ask People that seems to be one of like the top 5 rarest, and I've gotten 5 of those. So I feel like I keep like hitting the table of like tier 0 or tier 1, but I just keep hitting the same uniques. Like I've hit that one, I've hit Acuities, I've hit Maloney's multiple times each, and I just keep missing like some of the big ones.
For example, for me, I got only 1 replica Shaker, so that's the.
I think it's supposed to be the 3rd rarest, or maybe the 2nd, 3rd or 2nd. I think it's baited, then Shroud, then that, and then Dusk Dawn is like extremely rare also.
Yeah, I got a random one of those.
Yeah,
on one of my first Blueprints this league.
Every time I find a new replica, though, I do like a triple take. Like I'm like, is that real? Like I don't know, because it's just so. I always just all I expect is like the same 4 shitters, and then it's just like, oh look.
Yeah, you expect nothing, and you're still disappointed.
Yeah.
Right?
And even that's the worst part, though. Even if you find it, you see it in there. It's like the battle's not done.
Oh, finally! Holy shit!
Yeah, but you have to then leave, and then what if your game crashes? What if you die?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the worst.
But to answer Manni's question, I'm too far into collection, unfortunately, so I didn't really find anything but the new uniques, right?
I'm pretty much in line with that.
I'm still looking for that Maloney's.
Yeah.
I guess there's no good way to farm Maloney's this league, is there?
The same way there always has been, which is really just like bestiary or triggering time lost incubators, like the not fun ways.
Nothing special though that came up this league, is there? No.
I don't know why there's not more.
I think I sent like 200 ancient orbs, but didn't hit it.
Oh, I did 400 something on merge, and I know someone in Standard who did like 3,000 and didn't hit it, so it's just such a shit show.
Yeah.
They just gotta add fucking ornate quivers, but
there's a way, right?
The replica ones, then valing them, but you require so many. Like,
yeah, it's just one more way that exists now that you can. Just to clarify, you can chance them now because it's a global drop now, and before this league you couldn't chance them, right? Or before last league.
Yeah, but the ornate quivers don't exist though.
Yeah, but you could make one of the replica ones.
Could, yeah.
So it's a new way to acquire them.
Legally. It's legally on the books,
exactly.
But it's like replica Maloney's is so ridiculously rare in itself.
You would have to find an average of, 25, 20 or something?
Yeah.
Replica Maloney's?
Yeah.
I have 3 bricks at the moment, and I think I found like 15 Maloney's, so yeah, I'm on.
And you're getting there.
I found, I think, 3 Maloney's at all, so I haven't even bothered. I didn't even bother doing that. I also actually found I was missing Coward's Legacy. I found that this league, which is very, very nice because that's like a very good belt to have.
So are we done with Encouragement now?
No, I'm still missing the shield.
Same.
Oh, the shield.
Shield is rare.
I mean, I'm technically I do have the shield, but I cheated about a bit with
relic
that.
version or whatever.
Yeah, I got the relic version, so I'm missing the shield myself as well. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Still +1 though.
It is. It is legally a +1. Let's do a couple more. We have a couple more Q&A questions, I think, and then
yeah, sure.
I don't know if there really is any. I mean, they're mostly all shit questions. You have to. This is, I guess, it's the okay one. You have to spend the rest of your days playing one zone/map over and over. What is it and why?
Oof.
It's really the last question. The other ones are kind of random meme shit.
One zone.
Let me think of a good answer.
I think I'm picking Lyra myself, at least.
And what map?
What map? I wish I would do it last. I would have done race course forever. I could do race course and Lyra probably forever.
That map's far too empty for me. I hate it.
I don't care about the mobs. I'm just there for the fucking heist boxes. I'm there for the heist boxes and the beasts, which I don't care. They can be as many mobs or little as they want.
In terms of maps, I'd probably choose some classic like Underground Sea or Toxic Sewer.
Yeah, one of the sewer waste puller. They're pretty good.
I think for me would be a cemetery. I think cemetery is one of my favorite maps.
That's disgusting.
I mean, what about that Thunder Hollow?
I mean, that's the second option I was thinking, but yeah, and Thunder Hollow is kind of specific. But cemetery is like a decent layout, like a square layout with good density, easy boss, drops exalts.
Do you know why you like it? I think it's because your brain is square. That's why you like it, because the map's square and so is your brain. You got a cube brain.
Maybe.
Big old square brain.
I mean, the zone question is kind of weird because they're going to change them next league very heavily.
Well, I guess that's another question. If you could have any map in what zone, would be the same thing. Like, I want Gorge. I want to bring Gorge back.
I just don't want to run more Havoc Hamlet. I'm so done with that region.
Yeah, just
at this point, yeah.
Let me out.
Let
me out.
After I've got everything I wanted from Ritual this league, it's kind of like it's such a chore to run Ritual. But I already have everything crafted for Ritual. Then it's kind of like, oh god. That's why I've not been doing it.
I was trying to farm it a bit myself, but I didn't really find it fun at the end. Like filling the vessels, emptying the vessels, filling them up again.
Pretty much all I do now is when I get if I ever have a ritual spawn in a boss room, so it's a boss ritual, I'll just bottle that, and then I just put that in the stash, and then if I feel like it, I'll just run like, I probably have like 30, 40 boss-filled vessels at the moment. Maybe I'll just run all of those and like hope for a mirror or something, but that's the extent of how I do it.
I don't think that's the best way of doing it overall. Like,
no, the best way is just looking for like a huge pack in an area, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the bosses because it's like a flat amount, of just like, I feel like the bosses add like, what it was, 600 to 800, whatever, probably something like that. But I don't need anything either. I mean, I think maybe I would do Ritual again if it was I-86, like if I have stones for it, because that's kind of more fun, at least if you hit like an I-86 Archdemon or an I-86 Blizzard.
85 is enough, though, isn't it? Is there any point of going 86?
Just because I can, because my dick is, my dick is 1 point bigger. That is it.
Nice flex.
Biggest dickus, Not really, though. I guess for boots it makes a difference, though, because tier 1 move speed. But even then it's irrelevant because June move speed's better.
Exactly. Which is
really they should probably look at that. What they should do is they should make it go from 30 move speed to 40 move speed at 96. That'll be the real play.
I think my answer is just the June passives. Cemetery with June passives. Give me that.
Yes.
Betrayal all day, baby.
Yeah, I like XP.
XP is good. I don't like XP though. I don't care. To be honest, I normally get like getting level 95 is. It might sound insulting to people watching, but to me it happens as a byproduct of just playing the game. Like getting level 95 is kind of like very easy to get. If you just don't die for like 3-4 days of playing a build, you're just gonna get to 95. And past that, it really if I have stuff that I want to put points in, I'll push to 98, 99, whatever. But I just don't really give a shit after that. To me, it's all about the loot. I just want to see the goodies.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys who just likes the level. If my build is stuck on some level because I die too much, I get frustrated. I feel like the build's not good.
I definitely felt that at some point, but I've pushed past that feeling many years ago. And now I'm just numb to it. And I was just like, Now every build just has cast on damage taken portal, and it's like, or cast on death portal, and it's like I don't give a shit.
Why play the way you do when you could play the same way but also gain XP? You know,
the difference
that it is the same speed and gets XP.
That's because 90% of the time my eyes are looking at Twitch chat and not at my fucking monitor. So I just die.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's why I'm playing builds that have automated flasks, cast on damage taken setups, one button, like left click, fucking steel skin, like.
True.
I want to make it as like seamless as possible for me, where I just want to play path, not have to think about playing path, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the usual old people problems.
Oh yeah, no, I'm ancient. Every single thing must be on hit or automated. Just less clicking, the better. Yes, another. What is this? If you could remove one thing from path, like a unique, a league, a mechanic, what would it be and why?
The labyrinth. Goodbye.
I don't really mind lab too much, to be honest.
I hate traps. They've been in the game for so long, and every league I enter my first lab trial in maps, I always sigh still after like 50 leagues on private leagues and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, especially I guess I would. I relate to that point after doing Endless Delve, after doing that event, where when you just got level 33, 50, 68, and 75, you just auto-allocated your ascendancies. It was like, oh yeah, this is nice. Like, I could get used to that. That was very convenient.
I don't mind having to jump through some hoop fighting Izaro. I don't mind that, but like running through a zone that has like 10 monsters in it and you're just waiting for these spike traps.
That's a good point, actually. They could easily remove. Well, so the idea behind lab trials was that it was supposed to be a mechanism to teach you the mechanics before you run lab, right? That was the idea. Is they're introducing the different mechanics, and then you learn them, and then you ideally conquer them, and then you ascend. I think at this point, it kind of is just if you just got like to the different breakpoints of levels, like if you could, the second you hit level 30, you could do normal, then 50 for cruel, then 60 for whatever, then 70 for like if you just had that system, and then it would be infinite attempts. You would just learn as a virtue of attempting. So it kind of feels irrelevant to have the lab trials, even now.
Yeah, just big annoyance, pretty much.
So yeah, I guess that would make sense. So a system like that would probably be better. I would pick Wisdom Scrolls. That's what I would pick, because to me, I don't see a point of Wisdom Scrolls when you could just right click identify. The entire it's just an extra step. Like there's literally zero. If the whole point is you want the fun of identifying an item like that, kind of call it lottery moment because it's just IDing a rare, but like that suspense, there's no difference between me having to pick up a scroll and make a scroll or get scrolls versus me just right clicking identify. There's unless you guys can sell it otherwise. Why
there isn't.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
it's just useless.
And it's pretty much
mechanic, to be honest,
the same point. When you play on the Chinese client and you get the loot pad that picks up all the small currencies, at that point those currencies basically don't exist anymore, right? Because you will have infinite supply of transmutes and wisdoms and augments, and they might as well just make an augment button in your stash and a wisdom button in your stash that you click, right? Because the number is infinite.
I don't mind those dropping.
And I don't think it changes anything.
They could easily just have those currencies drops in stacks of 3 to 5, and it would just kind of be fine.
Doing right.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Teased, right?
For portals and wisdoms, they could straight up remove it.
They could just give us a portal button like Diablo has. I mean,
yeah, it's just better, to be honest. I don't agree with like scrolls being a thing. Like it shouldn't be a thing anymore.
Maybe if they didn't remove them from Pirandus coins, I wouldn't be as salty. But like,
yeah,
top 10. That was like top 10 anime betrayals. That was like Pirandus coins had one use and you fucking took them from me.
They wanted to modernize Pirandus, but they just didn't do it well enough. It still sucks.
That was like that between that and introducing the league exclusives to the base pool, but actually removing them from all their original locations. That was like one of the big two. That was like the biggest 1-2 punches when they're like, "We're buffing Pirandus by modernizing his table." It's like, oh, so you're just replacing his pool with 90% gems and maps. Got it. It's like all right, cool, man. He had use, and now it's just like fucking shit. I liked your idea though of farming Lexajoris for Enlighten or whatever.
Didn't work.
I've still not found an Enlighten this league at all. I have not found.
I got mine from Tujen only. 2 Enlightens from Tujen.
And that's it,
1
right?
enhanced drop, and I got an alt quality Empower the other day. I was running like 1 blueprint off Scream, and I got.
What a joke though! They totally fucking good. I mean, that's just kind of sad, but I mean, they're good. They're definitely really good, but like that
from...
drop rate is abysmal. Like,
kind of like the idea that it's like a chase thing, like a chase item, but maybe it's a bit too rare. If there's a way to target farm it, at least, you know. I guess there are some ways, but they're so scuffed.
I've had viewers tell me they've tried to farm the div cards, and they've run like hundreds of maps and found like one.
They made this card rarer. They made everything rare. They didn't forget about anything, I think.
No.
That's why I was hoping for the per on those, because I looked up spreadsheets of people farming Kadiro 2 or 3 weeks ago after the modernization.
Yep.
And Enlightens and Empowers were pretty common. Like, realistically common, but I'm pretty sure they also got gutted there.
Yeah. It's pretty...
And the div cards also got gutted.
Pretty brutal.
Yep.
Last question I think we'll do from the Q&A. Anyone who sees the question, because it's all on stream, you can see all the bullshit questions like, 9/11 inside job and whatever, how to fry an egg. But you have a...
Could you explain that? I never figured it out. How to fry an egg?
Fry an egg? You put, the human body's internal temperature is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you take the egg and you insert it into your rectum, you can actually hard boil it. Fun fact. So when we update the... yeah. Anything else? Does that answer the question?
Can we go to the next question, please?
We can. Why is this league so much fun, and what are your favorite parts?
Expedition.
Was that the answer to the favorite parts, or why is the league so much fun?
Yeah, the mechanic is good. I like it.
It's
rewarding. I like the vendors more than I thought I would.
Same.
I was very worried about vendors being boring, but apart from Rock, they're all like useful enough that it's kind of fun to interact with them. And Rock is fun too.
Week one.
I just played too long on the same save, basically. I don't reset enough.
Yeah.
I played too much for Rock to be relevant.
Even resetting is nice. Like, it's just to me.
I don't know. Rock can be really good.
You stop that.
Like it can be really good. So
he doesn't work for some things. He doesn't work for jewel crafting, I don't think, because there's like 4 different options for jewel crafting, and they made a fix for it where like you can't roll the same option twice. But for jewel crafting, it effectively is irrelevant because the option goes from reforge suffix to remove suffix. It serves the exact same purpose of ruining your jewel, and that happens so frequently that it's like you kind of just like get to go it until it breaks the item. It's like I hope it becomes useful, kind of, and then that's just it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for that.
I think that SSF is just the wrong environment for the rock, because when you do some rock crafting, you end up getting like 10 cool items, and you realize none of them are useful for my build. So either you're like playing 10 different builds, like Lighty is, I guess, then it could be useful.
Even, as I can tell you as someone who's playing 10 different builds, even when I do that, the items end up being like... So here's the biggest problem. Is like I'll craft an amulet, and the amulet could have like tier 1 crit chance, crit multi, a stat, and like life. And it's like, oh, this is great in a nutshell. But it's not influenced. So I don't have gem levels. Like, there's just so many definitive best slots for so many rares that are not that hard to obtain. That...
So you like progress too far already. You're already out.
It's not even that I progress too far. It's that the game enables you to progress much farther than ROG can enable an item, unless his first craft on an item is add influence. It's like it's already kind of GG. Like, because for many slots, like looking for influence modifier, like people are telling me, oh, ROG's great for making boots. It's like, well, that boot's not going to have elusive, tailwind, onslaught. Like it doesn't, so it's already dead to me.
But don't you play a pretty long amount of, like a pretty big amount of time you spend without those influence items? I feel like I do, at least. Like I leveled 100 with like 0 influence items. I just had life resist, and Rock actually crafted like half my set.
Yeah, but even then, I oftentimes, I mean, it's not that hard to find 30 move speed life boots. Like, he might be giving me 30 move speed life boots with slightly better res, but realistically, ROG's shop and all their shops don't even activate until a little past 90, because they don't even hit the highest tier of their capabilities until then. So by the time my character's 92.
If you're just like level 80, I don't need level 86 bases if I'm level 80, you know? I'm happy if I get like a life resist item. It doesn't have to be level 86 at that point.
The difference is I think I ID way more items than you do.
Yeah, that might be the case.
Because
pretty much
the first week of League, every single boot glove helm that ever drops, I'm IDing.
Okay.
And
yeah, I do.
Because I'm playing slower than you do. Like, I play slower than longer. So less effective, but I'm IDing way more items than you are. So it's very commonly by the end of day 3, I have 3 different like 25 tri-res move speed boots because I was IDing thousands of boots in the first week. So for me, it kind of doesn't really do it unless the boots like are maybe 2 tones or something. But yeah, but even then, I'd just rather how many builds can run at Zeri Step again? Like it's, I mean, I can get res elsewhere. There's just like better uniques that are boots are like pretty fucking good, like generically. Even if you're not using influence boots, it's like hard kind of.
I think there are some slots that Rogue can craft really well. Even
Fizz weapons to me sounds like a really good one. Fizz and caster weapons, like it's pretty easy to get.
Caster weapons, sure, but I wanted to mention gloves and helmets because usually if you don't really like rely on influence helmet, you can get like 120 life triple res from Rogue sometimes.
There's definitely some slot for sure.
But yeah, for gloves you can get like accuracy, chaos, rest attack speed. Those things are usually generally good, and there's not that many influence modifiers on gloves until like
to that
very
point,
end game.
Once you make 1 or 2 gloves or helmets that have that, he's now dead to you.
I mean, kinda yes, but that's the thing that you just progress past Rogue being relevant, and that's fine in my opinion.
That's pretty much.
I don't think that's fine though, because I'd like to have longevity in the mechanic past week 1. You know, if I make a tri-res life helm, I mean, I'm using that on one build. I could just give it to my second build when it gets replaced, and then that's just in my stash forever now. So whatever build I play,
it's just a softcore thing, though, right? You never lose gear. So once you have something,
So like the prerequisite for me now for Rog is I pretty much reset Rog until I see him selling. I'll pretty much anytime he sells a jeweled foil or an onyx amulet, I'll craft that. But aside from that, there's really not much else because he doesn't sell pagan wands ever. So, and maybe like I did 6 bone helmets. Like it doesn't sell like sandbar scepters. You know, if you sold every base maybe, but he's not selling the right caster bases even like that I want to use. So it's just very limiting. I think that if his shop maybe was more diverse with Atlas like bases, it would be more enticing. But it isn't. Like there's like so many checks you have to pass. You have to pass the. Is it even going to have an item of the same base type? So is it a one-hand thrusting sword? Is it a jeweled foil? Is it the right eye level? Does it roll influence initially, or does it have good enough stats to start crafting it? Like there's just like a lot of checks and balances that you have to get through to make something truly worthwhile with Rog. I just think I would say we're halfway through League, and I don't think I have a single item from Rog that is like I could showcase as the 4 or 5 hundreds of 1,000 scrap metals I've used in him. Being like, this is what I've made in a month and a half. Like, I don't have anything that fits that bill. But like every other vendor, I can be like, look at all the shit I've here's Gwen. This is the list of uniques I've gotten. Here's Tujin. I've gotten 10,000 sack decks and all this stuff. But Rog is like, like there's just nothing that.
Yeah, he outlives his usefulness eventually.
But I think that eventually is like day 7. So that's. To me, that's I don't know what you'd have to do.
I can't really say that. It depends, right? It depends on how you play the game.
Sure. And I could just be on the unlucky side of the spectrum for crafting also. So it's all anecdotal and based off of my perspective of what I've done. But yeah, I think without question though, he's definitely the worst of the 3 of the vendors, for me at least.
It really depends on the circumstance. Like if I'm level 85 on a fresh start, I think Rock is my favorite one to find in the map.
Yep.
But, if I have a level 100 character already and I've played for 6 weeks, he's completely worthless and I skip him all the time. He varies a lot.
He just doesn't age very well, I guess, was the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think that's fine, to be honest.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Like you can just skip it and open a new map, move on.
Fair. If you skip 1 in 4 encounters, it's not a huge deal, right? Because you find it every single map. It's actually
I still won't even skip them because they drop logbooks, so...
Anyway, the question was, why do you like the league? What else do you like about this league?
My favorite part of this league is honestly the bosses. Like, I just like thematically, I think the bosses are super fucking cool. Like the boss that you fight, the Rog boss, ironically, the one that you fight with the mirror. For me, I think he's my favorite boss in the game. I don't know, like the mechanics of that fight, I love so much. With the like the laser beam rose you have to dodge, and like his spinning beam. He's got the dia beam. He's got the laser beam. He's got like a wave of fucking particles. He just has like I just like the thematics of him. And then the actual big Danig fight, the Alroth fight, is just super flavorful.
That's my favorite one.
The audio, the music, it's just like so cool. Like they really did a really nice job. And I fucking hate Verana, the Scythe boss. That bubble mechanic is so stupid because there's so many flaws that I found out on Thursday because I ran like 6 of them that I didn't know that mobs can shoot through the bubble that spawn outside. So if you don't clear, like I try to sometimes if like I make a big loop, I'll just wait at the other end of the loop and then I'll wait till the explosion get there so I could walk in the boss room first or like do the boss first. All the fucking arblisters can just shoot through the smoke that you can't see, which is one thing. Also, you could kite her out of the bubble, but then you still can't do damage to her unless you're in the bubble, and she won't go back unless you walk back to it. So it's just like a borked boss fight, kind of mechanically. But I mean, she's what Reaper should have been, like, which is kind of fun to see, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Big mommy Reaper.
Verana is, Verana is a great boss in my opinion, except those flaws. Like the design itself is
she's so cool,
very good.
The whole voice acting and like the art of the whole expansion, really, like everything Expedition is really cool.
I love Medved, just big chunky swarm boy running around.
They made like a whole atmosphere that is different than the rest of the game.
Oh yeah,
but it's still good. Like it feels different. It feels like you're not running a normal map. You know, like the enemies look different. The voice lines, the music is different. I guess if you have it on.
Yeah, it's like it's a good departure thematically, but it doesn't seem foreign. Like it doesn't seem like it doesn't doesn't seem like it doesn't like deserve to be there, if that makes sense. There have been some mechanics I think that feel that way at times, but yeah, this one feels nice.
It reminded me a bit of the Primeval Ruins in Delve.
Yeah.
There's a similar good job there.
Yep.
It's distinct, different, but really good. Fits well.
Yeah, but I think my favorite part about Expedition is the choice that you can make. That your choices impact the gameplay so much, so you can like pick the proper remnants to make like good explosion chain and then get good rewards. Right? It's always up to you. It's sometimes you get randomly RNG screwed, but that's alright. Like it's really rare, but I always love this in Unpopular POE that if you have choice and you can influence what you do in the game, and Expedition does that very well.
Yeah, if you give like the same logbook to 10 people, they will all run it very differently, probably. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is very true. So, anything else that you guys want to mention?
I think the new skills were actually pretty good.
Oh yeah,
like it's a lot of new skills, and overall, their power level has been really good. So a lot of them are usable, which is a good.
What's your favorite one?
I haven't played all of them yet, but
hands down.
I love Rage Vortex.
Oh, Rage
really
Vortex.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't played Rage Vortex myself, but maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, I should try it. Very fun.
The one I think the one I league started as Reaper, but that was a fucking pile. I'm not sure which one I liked the most. I mean, I'm playing Forbidden Rite the most. Is definitely the strongest, I would say, in like a nutshell, I guess. But Helix has. It's a little janky, but it has just beyond insane damage effectiveness. Almost 300% damage effectiveness. So Helix is like, Spectral Helix is so strong. This is just funny to me that it has such high damage effectiveness that builds that are doing full cold damage where we're Blizzard Crown, just because the amount of flat they get is irrelevant to the fact that the enemy has more res. Like it's just they're getting so much damage, it doesn't matter. Like that's crazy to me. That has that good damage scaling. There's some weird ones like Absolution I haven't tried yet, or might be okay.
I think it's that good.
Yeah, it's probably not good, but that doesn't matter. I'll still play it. I just like that there was overall like this was. I think a lot of these were pretty hit skills. The ones that I've heard like that I thought that would be good that were actually terrible was the Slam Totems one, because it has such a massive negative attack multiplier. It's like just brutal to offset that.
It's pretty much just worse War Chief, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's
a lot of people play that kind of playstyle and this kind of build, like Consecrated Path, but wasn't the top tier build this league, unfortunately.
I mean, the balance changes combined with the 19 new skills definitely made the meta feel very different. Like the last couple leagues kind of felt like a repeat of each other meta-wise. Like the builds were good. This league is complete cut, which is, I mean, it has its downsides obviously if you like those builds.
Yeah,
that were nerfed, but for my POV, I like having like a fresh meta, figuring out new builds, or just copy pasting new builds, play something else for once.
The biggest thing that I'm upset about is I haven't played it myself, so I know I'm just going off of other people's what they say, but the concoction skill, the flask throwing skill, I've heard is just basically unplayable. I just wish it was good because thematically it's so cool, you know, just eating flasks. So maybe I don't have a dying sun yet, but when I get one, I'll make sure I play that. Cause that seems like just the coolest, you know.
I also love the idea of Blade Trap, but I haven't gotten around to playing it yet.
I'm leveling it.
Doesn't seem to be OP or anything either. It's just okay.
It seems like it's best played currently. Either there's a couple ways I've seen it being played. Either double Beanos and going the poison route, or double Vulcanus and just going like big fuck you damage. But I want to use Rebuke of the Val because that's the meme flavor. Nice. You know, I do have 2 Rebuke of the Vals now, so I gotta slap those bad boys on and start rebuking.
I mean, thousands of ways to play it because it's a completely new archetype, really, right? An attack melee mine or trap, sorry.
That doesn't need attack speed. Oh,
yeah,
such flavor.
You get more of that stuff.
Yeah,
like when you roll a build that is Blade Trap, you feel like you're actually making a new build, a new tree, right? Because oftentimes I play 2 builds, but they overlap so much in like the tree and the gear that they want that it kind of feels like I'm playing
an offshoot or something. Yeah,
playing SST this league, for example, right? This SST Raider, and it is like 80% of the same tree and gear as a Hit Raider, for example. It feels very similar in the end, gameplay wise too. Blade Trap is actually unique and different. It's great.
They did a good job thematically of making all the new skills very distinct, so I hope that continues.
Yeah.
Except for Behead. Behead was a fucking dead on a rifle.
Behead's so nice support gem.
How dare you?
Has good damage, right? You don't even care about the headhunter effect. It's just a good support gem damage.
Yeah, but they teased us with the headhunter effect. They're like, we have this thing over here. Everyone was like, yes. And it's like, oh, if you only have 1 and if you kill it, refreshes. No. It was just, you know, everyone's expectations. Any other closing remarks or anything you guys can think of?
Not really.
Like, boy, I hope hard mode is good.
Yes,
so we can have some fun with it.
Yeah, I would like to do a little private.
I'd be down for group found hard mode if it's good.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. I would enjoy that as well.
Troll Lighty.
Troll me.
Hard mode is really good, and I'm going for the unique collection in hard mode. That would be fun, huh?
I mean, already we know one person that goes for that, so
Iron?
We're gonna have some. Yeah, we're gonna do it.
All right, I'm racing him. Let's go.
Iron is doing group hard mode collection.
No, he wants to collect uniques in SSF hard mode.
Oh.
Because he finished the normal SSF.
He didn't finish. He didn't have Beta Breath.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't play Expedition either.
He said he finished twice. Okay.
Well.
Yeah, I finished the collection except those.
Except those uniques I couldn't find. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll never outrun his asterisk next to his achievements unless he buckles down and heads back to the heist. Also, he skipped this entire league, so fucking gotta go back now. Yeah. I also look forward to hard mode. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully we'll do something cool in the future. But yeah, I guess that about wraps it up. I think we covered. I'm sure we fucking forgot something. It's just 20 minutes from now we'll be like, oh yeah, that thing we didn't mention. But that is what it is.
Yeah. Next time.
There's always next time. Next time will be oh yeah, you can do one more prediction actually. What do you think the next league's gonna be called?
Retribution.
That's a good one. I'm gonna say Pandemonium.
Why?
I don't know.
Heist 2.
Heist 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yep.
I was thinking Retribution to smite all the non-believers, you know, all the haters.
It could be like Retribution of the Val, and it could be an Adziri fucking league. Another go back to the Val league. You know,
I wouldn't mind that. I love Val themes. So
oh, that's actually a good question. Not to keep dragging this on, but if you could see any league mechanic get a second, like, you know, whatever 2, what would you want to see? You say Delve 2?
I was just thinking about the same thing before you asked the question,
really?
and
that's
I
funny.
came to Delve.
There's
a lot of theme there, right? With the different tribes, the Abyss and
old
Primeval guys and Val guys, and I think there's a lot of, and Delve was popular. People have been delving
forever
till this day, right?
Mm-hmm.
People main on Delve. Like, there's potential.
I think I would pick Blight, which I don't think is a common choice, but I feel like Blight left me with I love the thematics of it, but there was a vacuum of no real boss. Like I just wanted to fight something, and I didn't get that.
I feel like it's way too gimmicky to come back.
How dare you? Well, think about it. One of the most popular games right now is Bloons. Bloons Tower Defense, and Blight is just Bloons Tower Defense minus the monkeys. So it's the same thing, you know.
I don't know, dude.
It's gonna be good. Or Harbinger 3. Just more Harbinger.
That mine's expansion on
triple infused.
But
when was second Harbinger?
Fucking infused scrolls.
I thought they were saying the Ritual League when the Harbingers were super OP.
Oh no! Basically the fucking Sea of Blue. That's the real Sea of Blue. Fuck the div card. That was like going into a map and seeing nothing but blue, and then your game crashes. It's fun. That's a hard lightning to rebottle, but that's okay. What was the league you picked, Legi, for your sequel?
I think for me it would be Breach. I think there's a lot to expand on that kind of mechanical,
spooky
game-wise, and
could go into their realm.
Yep.
And Uxoft's realm and Ash's realm, and could be a lot of stuff there.
You could also do like hybrid bosses, like have a fire cold boss and a lightning fire boss, and that sort of stuff.
You can come up with any other like combination of elements or something like that, and introduce something new. So I think that would be really cool.
A lot of cool room, yeah. Incursion, you could do anything because they time travel also. just time traveling. So
that lore is still so weird to me.
Don't look into it at all. Just like the more you look into it, the worse it gets.
I didn't want to mention Incursion because like it's mostly about the Val, right? So they always gonna revisit a Val theme, right? Because Ultimatum was a Val theme.
Yep. Yeah, Val is like the base lore of the game.
Yeah, which is just Aztec pretty much. So
yeah, exactly.
We gotta find Quetzalcoatl. That's the giant fucking Aztec dragon dude, whatever the fuck. There's a lot of like easy things they can just copy paste from like all the free Aztec lore.
But POE didn't have dragons.
Yeah, okay. There's dragons in that's what you mean. There's a dragon boss in Delve. One of the Azure 3 node. You fight a dragon.
It's not a dragon. It's like a how's that other thing called?
Wyvern.
Similar to a dragon. Wyvern, yeah. It's a wyvern, isn't it?
That's just a technicality.
A dragon.
That's a dragon with an extra leg. That's all it is. I mean, we have Dragon Killer, Dragon Rider MTXs. There's Dragon Apparition MTX.
True.
Yeah, but yeah, look forward to seeing fucking Heist 3 come out. Can't wait. But yeah, I guess that's about it. We'll just wrap it up here. Something.
Good talk.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag, yes.
And then,
I say good talk, but
no, Guten Tag, it's fine. Do you want to say goodbye in German, Manny?
Auf Wiedersehen.
I mean, in Legi, do you want to say goodbye in Swahili?
No.
Okay, good. Well, next time will be when Unknown League name comes out, and hopefully we'll have Easy will resurface and Iron will figure life out, and we'll be able to do it with all five again. not just the three chuckle fucks over here.
Waving goodbye. You just can't see it.
What you waving? Using your hand, or what are you waving with?
Yeah, of course, my hand.
Okay. Never know with you. All right, that's it. I'll wait for everyone else. All right, bye. If you have any questions, whatever, ask them in the comments or some shit. And all right, okay, bye.